Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Paranormal Road Trip with Jen. Sorry we're running behind. We're still trying to get one more person in our Google Hangouts. We're having issues with it tonight, which is nothing unusual. YouTube really needs to kind of get that fixed. But tonight we will be speaking with the owner of Thornhaven Manor, which is Steve Miller. And we are trying to get Barb Wyatt from SIGH, which is Southern Indiana Ghost Hunters. We're trying to get her in. We're still working on that. And we'll also be speaking with Lisa Holcomb. She was with us on World Ghost Hunting Night or Day. So please welcome them to our show. Welcome, Steve. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Another day, another dollar. That's all I can say. You get to see my lovely cabinet back here with my dishes. But yeah, I just asked Barb if she can use her phone to get on here, so she hasn't responded yet. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully you can do the same thing where you just send it straight to her Gmail email address and maybe it'll pop up like it did for me.
That's what I did. I already sent it to one email. So maybe we will get her here soon. But I thought you could tell us the history of Thornhaven, how you came to find the manor, what made you decide to purchase it, all the good details, the history, whatever you want to tell us, feel free.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll start at the beginning. That's a good place. I wasn't looking to buy anything like this. I was looking to buy a rental property. We have rental properties in the family. But I also tend to put like 1920 and earlier when I'm looking, just because I enjoy looking at old homes architecture. And that was just an easy way to peeking in at people's homes. It was always in the back of my head, maybe to have an old house one day, like retirement age, to restore and have some land. But that's not what I was looking for whatsoever when I ended up finding Thornhaven. So anyway, what I did, I was, looking for rental properties, stopped looking, put 1920 and earlier and started looking at old homes. And then this popped up one day. And I love Italianate structures, thought the place was gorgeous. Was going to be one of those people who literally was just going to waste the realtor's time. And I just wanted to see inside. I came in, I fell in love with the place. I was here less than a half hour. And the next time I had the keys in my hand. It was just a complete whim. I didn't know anything about the place. One of the oddest things, I've told a lot of people this, one of the oddest things was when I was going through the process of purchasing this place, the realtor, like any questions I had to go through the realtor. The couple that I purchased it from wouldn't talk to me, which means that they wouldn't answer any questions. And all the questions I had were about the history, because I had no clue. I didn't know anything about this place. I'm not from Newcastle. And so I was asking about the history. And of course, the stuff you should ask, the roof and foundation and all those good things. But they would only answer things they had to legally answer. And it was just through the realtor. So that should have rung some bells there. But even then, I wasn't thinking, oh, must be haunted. I was just thinking they were just kind of jerks. So yeah, from there, everything just kind of snowballed. People started contacting me, said, oh, you purchased the haunted house in town, didn't you? And so so that's kind of like the beginning story of it all.
Yeah, I like the house. I really do. I like the tall ceilings. That was one of my favorite parts of it. And I know you said there's no hallways in there, that
Right.
everything just kind of branches off from the main room. And that was a really interesting feature as well. I've never seen that in a house before.
Yeah, I thought that was different, to say there's a lot of different when it comes to this house. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's a very peculiar place. It's good different though. I like unique. So yeah, that's how it all started. This is Lemons and Lemonade. I had one friend named Amanda. She is an investigator. I didn't even know that was a thing. I had gone one time. There's a place in southern Indiana called Whispers Estates. I don't know if you've been there or not.
I haven't been, but I know where it's at.
Yeah, and so she invited me to go to one. I went with her once. It was a lot of fun, but not something I was into. But I remember her doing that, and so once I bought this place, even before I bought it, I showed her a picture. I was like, "Oh, look what I'm thinking about buying," and she's like, "Ooh, if you get that, can we investigate?" Because I mean, everybody can tell how old it is. And I was like, "Yeah, sure." But then, like literally day one, cleaning out the house, we were having things happen. And so I quickly called her up and said, "Remember when you said you wanted to check my place out? Well, why don't you come check it out?" And so from there, she was the one who convinced me to open it up. She said, "You'd be surprised. There's a whole group of people out there who love to investigate homes." I didn't believe her. But after a while, I did my research, went to a couple things, talked to some people, and decided, why not? Why not try it? Um, and so, yeah, here I am.
Literally, you are there.
Yeah, I'm here tonight by myself, like a crazy person.
Yeah, I was looking, I was like, wait, that looks really familiar. I was like, oh yeah, that's where my friend lives at. I see Barb's joined us. Barb?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good deal.
Yay. We're so excited.
That was a job.
And a half. Stop. Can you guys hold on a second? Apparently my daughter's not doing her job.
Sure.
So, Steve, if you want to tell us the history of Thornhaven that you found out, feel free.
Okay. I think everybody on this call already knows all this stuff, but you'll just have to bear with me and listen. I don't know as much as I should. That's the first statement I'll make. It's really confusing. Simon Powell is the gentleman who built this property, and I truly believe he built this to be part of the Underground Railroad. And because of that, we've had a really hard time pinpointing exactly when it was built because he's kept it off the books. He was the assessor in town during that time. And so Thornhaven, this house itself, did not show up until the year after he left his job. Part of it, I think, was also avoiding taxes. But yeah, so I was always told 1845, but then what research we did, it didn't quite match up. So it seems more like around, we say circa 1850, sometime around 1850 is when it was started or completed. But definitely something was going on in that time frame. Interesting thing about Simon Powell and the two gentlemen who owned this land before him was they were abolitionists and Quakers. All three of the gentlemen, the first one who ever bought it from the state of Indiana, the man he sold it to, and then the man Simon bought it from, all of them were Quakers and abolitionists. So I think they all knew each other. They were all part of the movement, especially when it comes to, I believe, probably Underground Railroad activity, which kind of pushes my last comment about thinking it was actually built to be part of the Underground Railroad. Simon Powell was a very influential man within the community. He was friends with Governor Morton. He was friends with President Grant. And there's two papers in the Library of Congress with correspondence with Lincoln. So he was very well connected, very powerful, very rich individual, owned this home that originally had 400 acres and several properties and land and businesses and everything over time throughout his life. They had very interesting things that happened to them. Like all families, they had a lot of good things, but they also had some tragedies. We have 4 confirmed deaths in the house, but actually I was talking to my old groundskeeper and he believes he's my big researcher. And he believes that there's actually been 7 deaths in the house or on the land that we know of. And so it kind of keeps on building. And so that's new to me. We was just here the other day and was talking about how we think the number has gone up to 7.
There's something there.
Yeah, I tell people, and I don't know if it has to do with how a lot of investigators have come in, or if it just has always kind of been this way, where this house for me tends to be a beacon where some nights it's like this is like it always is. Because with a lot of hauntings, I've been told, and I can concur, especially with this property, is there's a lot of repeated patterns, what they refer to as residual, which I'm sure all your listeners know about that. And so I get a lot of things that happen all the time. It's the same one, the same sounds, the same activities over and over again. But then some days it changes, or there's something here, or feels like there's something here that's completely different out of the blue. And so, like I said, I feel like it's kind of a beacon where things can kind of come and go from here. And I believe maybe that has to do with now we have so many people trying to communicate here. And so maybe it's like a moth to a flame where they know this is a place where there's communication. Of course, this is all guessing. But that's just kind of my educated guess on the things that happen here. Because sometimes it can be quiet, and other times it's like there's a party going on. Barb can contest to that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Barb slept here more than I have.
I'm still trying to get him to spend the night.
With all of us here on, what, the 29th? You went home with all of us there to protect you.
Exactly. See? But I'm here by myself tonight, so
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I've gotten really good. It's literally taken years. I mean, when I first bought it, the sun was going down, I was out.
How long have you owned it?
6 years now.
Oh, really? It's been that long?
Yeah, it's been that long.
Oh, wow.
It's been a slow process.
I didn't realize it'd been that long. While we're looking in the living room, the parlor.
Yeah.
There you go. Is that the door Lisa had that photo on? Okay, I'm not trying to scare you while you're there by yourself.
Which door? There's 1, 2, 3.
I know, right?
4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 doors in this room. You got to be more specific.
I know. If you look straight at the fireplace, the door to the left, is that the one that she has?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it.
Have I seen this photo? I don't know if I've seen this photo.
I don't know.
So there's the fireplace.
It would be the one on the left.
So the one leading into what I refer to as like the breakfast room or the closet?
The closet, I think.
Is it? Yes, the closet. Yeah. Not where the big table is.
Yeah.
That door.
On the inside of it.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah, kind of.
That's it.
That's the door. I just was wondering because she sent us a photo and it looks like there's a man standing there. So I was just kind of wondering, since we're live there, just kind of wanted to see what it looked like.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if any of our friends will come by and say hello while we're talking.
Yeah, how does this work? I mean, can you see other people? Can you see who's listening, or is this?
We have 8 people watching right now.
Okay.
Chase is wondering, do you know how Catherine Winters is connected there?
That has to do with Barb, to be honest.
Wow.
Catherine Winters, if anybody knows, it's like local lore of Newcastle. Catherine Winters, I think she was 9. She went missing, and this is like downtown. Newcastle, and my house is 2.5 miles outside of downtown. And so all these years, no one has ever known where she has disappeared to. And there's a lot of theories on how she died or if she was murdered, and who took her. And well, Barb, I'll let you go from there.
Okay. I'm kind of thinking like you did, as the place being a beacon for spirits to come to and to come through to. I think she's came through there to get somebody's attention, to pay attention and try to figure out what's happened with her. And I've spoke to several mediums as well, and I was told that pretty much the same thing. She came through to us, thinking that we would listen to her and try to get her story out.
Lisa just said, "Yep, that's the closet."
Yeah, that was an interesting night. I was here. Sometimes I stick around for a while, especially if it's people I've become friends with and I know well. I like to hang out. And that was a very interesting night. They were all sitting around the dining room table. They had all this equipment going. And it was pretty amazing where they were having a conversation. Things would light up. They'd ask it to stop. And this isn't just like one piece of equipment. This was like 2 or 3 pieces. We're all interacting simultaneously at the same time. And and I think it was also probably a ghost box too, but something along the lines where Catherine came through and they asked me, "Oh, we keep on hearing this Catherine. Do you know who Catherine is?" And for a while I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. That name doesn't ring a bell at all." And then after a while, I just kind of like, the only Catherine I can think of is the one that went missing in town. Barb's not from here. Where are you from, Barb?
Seymour, about 2 hours south.
Yeah, so she wouldn't know the local history at all. And so I said, okay, I do know about a bar, or I do know about a Catherine, but I don't want to mention anything. I don't want to influence what you guys are trying to get questions, how you're questioning and the answers you're trying to get. So just keep on asking about it. And it was pretty neat. A lot of things. Now Barb is more of an expert than me. I only knew just kind of bits and pieces of the story. And now Barb and her team has done a lot of research and has talked to the people who know the most about the legend in town. And it's pretty crazy, the stuff that they captured during their investigation.
It really was. It was crazy. And, from all of our research and everything has turned out to be exactly what supposedly has happened. She even, I hate to say she haunted me afterwards, but I had dreams for well over a year after that particular session that I kept seeing a little girl. I couldn't see her face, but I could tell it was a little girl. She was in a dress and she had a hair ribbon in. And she would motion for me to come to her or point away from her for me, like she was wanting to show me something. And this went on forever. And
Told me about that.
eventually I started to say something to Amber, and she said she was having the same dream as well. So it was 2 of us, and we'd both heard Catherine say her name several times. We both heard her say she was 9 years old. She told us that something had happened to her in town. During the EVP session, I started getting a really bad headache on the left side of my head in the neck area. And I asked if something had happened to her head. And we got a perfect Class A yes. And then I asked her if she was making me feel that. And another yes. And I literally had to leave and walk all the way out to the middle of the road for it to stop. And then, like I say, the dreams went on, and it seems like every time we're there, we will get the same little girl's voice come through, and she keeps asking for help. But every time she comes through, a man's voice comes through and shuts her down.
Now, when we were there, was the little girl's voice that came through the same one, or was it different?
No, that was a different voice on the 29th.
Yeah, because I know you said Lizzie.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that was Lizzie. who would have been the 2-year-old that died there in the house.
You are the Thornhaven guru.
Yeah, you're really better off asking her questions than me when it comes to the house.
Well, thanks for joining us. Sit there and look pretty. And
It's crazy. It really is. I mean, the case is, it's over 100-year-old case as a missing persons case, but just last year it was reopened as a murder case. There has been I think it's a 10-page handwritten document that somehow has been slipped into the records where many, many people have gone and looked and dug through things. It was not there before. Just suddenly last year, this has shown up.
Lisa said, sorry, go ahead.
Nothing. I've not seen anything or heard anything else, since they reopened it. Hopefully.
Yeah, they got some more evidence. I don't know if anybody in the public has read it, but it's been acknowledged that they do have it.
Right.
I have no idea what's in it.
No, I don't think they've let anything out. No, I don't believe so. Not yet. Hopefully we'll hear something next weekend at the Spirit Stroll, I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so popular around here. Several books have been written about it. And now every year they have a Spirit Stroll where they retrace her last steps. And that's pretty interesting. Is that all? Is it just Catherine? Or do they talk about, well, I guess they talk about a couple other things.
Yeah, they go through a couple different buildings and different stop-offs and different haunted places, supposedly. And then the biggest part of her last walk.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested in doing that, and if anybody's close to Newcastle, when is that, Barb?
It is next Friday. I believe it's the 19th. Yeah, the 19th at 5:30.
And then people meet at you still meet at the front of the Courier Times newspaper?
Yes, everybody meets there and then walks from there.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested, just look up the Courier Times building in downtown Newcastle, and you just park wherever you park and meet there. And it's pretty interesting. I did it one year. One of the things they talk about is there's 2 cemeteries in downtown Newcastle that one is a road, I think, and the other one's a parking lot.
Right.
Where they were tasked as to move those cemeteries into South Mountain Cemetery, which Simon Powell, who built this home, he's one of the people responsible for starting South Mountain Cemetery. But anyway, what they did was they moved the headstones and left the bodies. And so now there's a road and you're driving over bodies, and there's a parking lot and you're parking over bodies. And one of the things that how it's connected to my place is that Simon Powell was responsible for one of those projects where all he did was move the headstones and he left the bodies.
In Fort Wayne, they still have parking lots with bodies under them. It's straight across the road from the jail. And then they kept moving their cemeteries there, and there's still bodies downtown. They've paved over one. And now where they shut down the building, they're turning it into apartments. So I'm sure the new apartments will be haunted as well.
You got to bet on it.
But yeah, that's part of the Spirit Stroll as well. It's pretty interesting.
What day is that? This weekend or next?
Next weekend, Friday at 5:30 at the Courier Times, and I think it's only like $12 a person. It's really interesting.
Are you going to be there?
I will.
And it's next Saturday, the 20th?
Friday the 19th.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, if you get me a golf cart, I'll come because I don't want to walk. But we'll just drive around. No, I can't get off work to come. So.
If you get a chance, you should check it out sometime because it really is interesting.
I won't be able to make it either. They're filming a movie here, and that's one of the nights of filming. And so hopefully I got to be there when everybody gets here because I got to just make sure everybody's on the same page. But then after that, hopefully I can meet up with Barb and we can get to have some dinner or something.
Sounds good. Sounds great.
Chad says there was a 2-year-old that died at Black Moon Manor in Greenfield named Lizzie. I did tell him that Elizabeth Powell died in the home when she was 2. So,
Yeah, he might have getting that confused with my house because I don't know. I've never heard that about Black Moon, but
Yeah.
Lizzie is the 2-year-old who passed away here in Thornhaven, and I can see how someone might get that confused because I mean, Black Moon is in Greenfield, which is less than it's a half hour from here, and so a lot of people used to say stuff that they'd mix the two up.
and then Lisa says, I mean, the spirits sure knew Steve. They kept asking for him, and they did.
Yeah, unfortunately, whenever people have different, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, they tend to say my name over and over and over again. So hopefully that's a good thing.
And you were hanging out at the fire pit that night.
Yes. Yeah, whenever there's investigations and I'm around, I'm usually there and not in the house.
So what is your future plans? I have to manually switch this tonight. It usually just does it itself. So what are your future plans for the manor?
I have decided, I bought this to live in, and now I don't think I can. Like I said, I've gotten used to where now like I'm here by myself and it's late, but I got all these lights on. There's lights on throughout the whole house. And I was gonna turn my outside lights on, but I gotta switch out my extension cord. But anyway, I've gotten used to like the footsteps, and I've gotten used to hearing the voices in the other room or things get moved around or the little things. But like I've said to a lot of people, there's been 3 or 4 times when it's gone from that to crap, someone just broke into my house. It's gotten so loud and so real and so intimidating where all I feel is like, oh, this is no longer my house. This is an intruder, and I'm going to have to confront some stranger, and who knows what's going to happen. And that's a horrible feeling. And so I can't imagine being here by myself in bed and then something happening and thinking, oh, is this the time when I'm actually going to get stabbed in bed? Or is this just the house? Or is this house going to stab me in bed? Which one is it?
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm like a total scaredy cat.
You were very brave the night we were there, but you had 19 people with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And Barb's the guru, so you were fine.
Yeah, so now I love history. I love architecture. I'm one of those people when I ever go to visit someplace, some city, I look up the history. I look up the interesting places to go, the museums. I'm that kind of person. And so a lot of people have come here. It's been pretty fascinating. The people who are interested in it for the paranormal. And then I have people coming here because they have the architecture. And I have people coming here because of the history. And then I have 7 acres and it's all wooded and it's really pretty and it's beautiful vistas. And so people come here because they just like being out here. I
don't. So, it's really dark. and Barb and I heard the coyotes that night, and they were having a heyday.
They were. They sure were.
Yeah. But because of that, and so many people have come to me from so many walks of life from all over. I mean, I have people who've been here from all over the United States, as far as California. I think some people have been from Alaska. I mean, they weren't coming here just from Alaska to see me, but this was one of the things they wanted to see while they were out here. And then, of course, through Facebook and social media platforms, I got people from all over the world who communicate with me. And so I feel like I want to open it up as a living museum. I want to, the families that have lived here over the time have been very interesting. Some have done some pretty significant things within the community, the state, and the country. And there's a lot more that we're figuring out. And so I want to, where you come through here and tour the home and learn about all these different families and what they did and what happened here. And I want to, I have a master plan for all 7 acres. I want to be able to where people can wander through the woods and it'll be all landscaped and, just one of those beautiful old historic properties that people come to visit and learn about our history. And
would you ever consider opening us a home? Well, you all heard my 2-year-old, right? Would you ever consider? Every time I get to that point, he screams.
He does not want to know the answer to whatever you're about to ask.
I guess he doesn't even want me to ask it. Would you ever consider opening it as a haunted bed and breakfast?
No, because I have a cousin who used to she used to manage a bed and breakfast. And because when I was first kind of like, well, what can I do? What can I do to let people in? Or how can I? And I reached out to her and she's like, don't do it. She's like, it is so much work. She's like, think about it. It's 24/7. If people are coming to your house to stay, they're there from the minute they wake up to the minute they go to bed. And I'm like, oh no, that's too much work.
Yeah.
I'd rather schedule stuff and it'd be open an X amount of hours during the day. My biggest problem, which hopefully over time this can be fixed, is the city. I have no help or everything that's been communicated to me through paperwork or phone calls or visits is they'd rather see this place gone than me do what I'm doing here, which is really sad because it's a very important structure for this town. And yes, what I'm doing is a little bit to the left of norm, but who cares? And it's not the city as a whole. I don't want to make it out sound like the vast majority of people I have met within the community, anytime I've ever had to go to the courthouse for different things, and I've mentioned who I am and what, they're all excited. They all think it's great. Everybody would like to see, most people love homes and structures and like to see that they're being saved. And especially when you can repurpose them, because nowadays it's hard. You can't just, you got to think outside the box and think of different ways of bringing people in. And luckily I don't have a problem with doing that. It's just a matter of it's just a handful, like 2-3 people who have a lot of influence and they don't want it. And that would be fine if it was their property, but it's not. And so I've just got to keep on working. And that's one of the reasons why it's taken me so long to get as far as I could be a lot further along than I am. I get things in the mail in regards to if I'm working on the property and I get construction trash in the front yard, like a pile of debris, that of course it's clearly construction. It's clearly going to be gone within a day or two. I don't leave just a bunch of junk piles sitting out. I'll get a letter saying if I don't get it taken away that I'm going to get fined. Any little thing I do, it's not met with, oh, we're so happy with you trying to save this place. It's how can we get money out of you or how can we stop you? It's always fines and.
Unfortunately, Steve, that's Newcastle. They tore so many historical buildings down that was downtown to build parking lots that it's unbelievable. They would rather tear them down than invest in fixing them up.
Yeah, it's sad. And it's really just a few people. You talk to most people in town and no one's happy with the way things, the way a few people run a big part of the stuff around here. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but you just got to have to fight the good fight.
Now, as you were talking, I had some thoughts pop in my head. We have talked before about the city would rather have it gone. When I booked it and I started to advertise World Ghost Hunting Day, we talked about that. Now, do you think, and I'm going out on a limb here, that people want it gone because maybe it's relatives of Simon Powell, or it's a bad reminder of days gone past, days gone by?
I don't think it has anything to do with relatives of the Powells, because I don't think there are any living relatives from that line. Because pretty quickly after, because Simon just had 2 sons, one of them, Henry, I don't think he had any kids. Anyway, the line like quickly just died off. And I think it has to do with literally ghost hunting. It has nothing to do with anything but that. They've got this weird thing in their head that, ooh, that's bringing bad attention. And I'm like, for all the bad attention Newcastle gets, ghost hunting isn't one of them. I think I might be more concerned of, you know, the meth and the plumbing, all the, I mean, this is a city that could use, you know, some attention and something else. I mean, yes, a few people might think this is negative for whatever reasons, but a lot of people find it entertaining or interesting, or don't care either way about it. But it's not hurting anybody. People literally come to my house to be quiet. You can't say that about a lot where I invite. I mean, how many times have you invited people over and said, "Hey, let's come to my house. We're going to sit around in silence." You don't get that. And I'm one of these people who I try to be, I'm a golden rule type person, you know, treat others how you'd like to be treated. I like to be a good neighbor. But besides that, I've got 7 private acres. There's no one near me. The only reason people get upset is because they've gone out of their way to follow me on Facebook and have projected their own issues onto me so they can have something to be mad at. And if they would just turn off their cell phones or not pay attention to me, they would have absolutely no idea what was going on here. None. No clue whatsoever.
I agree.
Yep, me too.
Yeah.
We do have some comments. Chad from Newcastle says it's Newcastle. They want their cut.
Which I'm fine with that. That's the thing. It's like I'm one of those people who, I'm not like trying to go under the table or anything like that. I have gone in from day one. You know, anytime I've learned of something, because this is new to me, I don't know how to. I mean, this isn't anything normal or typical. There's not a handbook for this. And so anytime I ever learned I needed to do something, I went straight to the source, went into the offices. What do I need to do? I want to make sure I'm doing everything right. And they just shut me down left and right and center. And so that's the thing. If they let me do what I want to do, and it will be done, and where everything, my T's are crossed, my I's are dotted, they're going to get whatever percentage. I've had some word that people are starting to change their minds where they're like, wait a minute, because if you go after one person, then you only get the one person's amount of, let's just money. But if you let me do this, there's a lot of people from all over the country that come. So there's many people coming that spend their money at hotels, spend their money at restaurants, spend their money at the gas station, go to Walmart, go to they go all over. And there are people that would never step in this town, never even heard of this town.
And that's what I told Barb the other day. I said, Thornhaven draws in people who would never go to Newcastle. I wouldn't have any reason to go to Newcastle. And Thornhaven, the manor, is the only reason I came. And I told her that the other day. I sent her a message and said that actually. And they should really consider, you are bringing money in every weekend. And I don't know how many investigations you have during the week, but I'm sure you have a few. But right down the street at Casey's, yeah, you may have to go to the bathroom there. But when you go in there, you're also buying stuff. And like like you said, with the hotels. And we ate at Pizza King when we were there. That was extra revenue for them. They need to look at it that way as well.
Yeah, it is people who would complete. Newcastle's an odd town where they don't have a presence off of the major highway. You know, all these small towns were kind of killed off a bit when 70 came through. And the smart ones instantly started building as close to that to bring people in. Like, hey, we're still here. There's a town. Just come about five miles, and there's a town here. And we got shops, and we got restaurants, and we got interesting historical things you might want to see. Newcastle's odd. You go to the exit, and there's just a couple of gas stations for big rigs, and that's it. You would not know there's a town 5 minutes down. And it's a beautiful town. It's a gorgeous place. It has great potential to keep on, growing in a positive direction. But if you have people who are just staunch, no, we don't want anything to change. We don't want anything to be different. Well, that doesn't work. There's no such thing as not changing. You're either moving forward or falling behind.
And they also have Weenie World. That was just for you, Lisa Grubbs.
Yeah, they got some cool little places here. And I know they're trying to build some stuff. And I know I'm not some big factory that's come in, but I would not know of another place in the modern times right now that doesn't give Newcastle more attention in the broader sense of like entertainment or someone watching it on TV. I mean, it's been on several TV shows now, and those shows have been seen millions of times now. So
Right.
Millions of people that have been like, oh, there's a place called Newcastle, Indiana, and it's got this interesting house. And maybe if I'm going through Indiana, I might just drive by.
Now,
I've had people from, like I said, I've had people from California. I've had people from Montana. I've had people from Florida, and they've not just come here just to see my house and leave, but they've stopped. They made a trip to come out this way, out of their way to drive through town and stop at this place.
Where was it that someone came from last year, Steve, on a trick or treat night? Do you remember? You had people from out of the country, didn't you?
Yeah,
I thought you said.
Was there someone from England that was there? They were visiting and they came to see the place?
I believe so. I believe it was England.
Yeah. I forgot about that. You were there. I forgot about that. Yeah, they were from England and they stopped by.
There you go.
Well, I know that when we were there that night, I actually had people after we were sold out ask if
No.
we still had tickets or if they could come by. Are you guys here?
I am.
Okay.
We lost Steve.
Steve?
Oh, boy.
Oh,
I know he's there.
they got him. They got him. Steve,
That's
I'll
what I'm-
come rescue you. It'll be 3 to 4 hours, but we'll be there.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Bless his heart.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lisa's being funny on the chat. She's talking about Weenie World. I told her we need to take a group photo the next time we go, right in front of Weenie World.
It's great tenderloins. I'll give him that.
Are they?
Oh,
I was
my-
like, that name just cracked me up. I was like, Weenie World, that's where we have to go. So, Barb,
Yes, ma'am.
tell us about
oh,
not
my.
Weenie World, but all the interesting things that you've had happen at Thornhaven, and then we'll get into World Ghost Hunting Day. Yeah.
Oh my. Let's see. Steve bought the place. I think he bought it in May of 2012. And I believe the first time I was there was June of 2013. It was Debbie Jansen Gabe Wyatt and Amber Royalty was with me. Mike couldn't make it that night. He was working down at Waverly. And Steve was actually there. He stayed with us most of the evening. We had the usual major battery drainage. I think it wiped out everything we had. And at the time, there was no electricity there. And we had no generator. So we were pretty much down to a couple of EVP recorders and the thermal. And we were doing a session in the drawing room, which at the time hadn't been shut down yet due to the floor caving in.
Hello.
There he is.
My phone died.
Oh, we thought they got you.
Yeah.
They got my phone. It was charged.
I was laughing. I said, "Uh-oh, they got him. We'll be there in 3 to 4 hours to rescue you." And Chad says, "I'm 5 minutes away if you need help, but I'm not coming in. I'm a big chicken."
Thanks, Chad.
Oh, I was just talking about the major battery drainage of the place.
Yeah, I had plenty of juice and it just zapped it. So now I'm plugged in.
You're still alive, so we're good.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Barb. Tell us about your exciting blur photo you got.
The first time we were there, I set up a couple of EMF pods on the mantle of the fireplace, and I'd no sooner turned those on, maybe got 3 feet away from the fireplace. And my son, Gabriel, had the thermal pointing it over towards the windows. And he said, "Oh my God, Mom, what is this?" And I jumped over and was looking in the thermal and actually seen this thing behind Amber, who was sitting on the floor, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 feet away from the window. And this thing had been inside and was going in and out of the window and looking at us. And it's almost like it realized we could see it, and then it took off. But we did get the 4 thermals from that. And like I said, Steve was there that evening. I went flying through the front parlor with the camera and the flashlight outside to see if anybody was out there. And of course, there was nobody there.
Not that you've done that ever before.
I'm bad about that. I keep saying I got to quit it, but I never seem to do it.
And that's just a little snippet of what Barb and Lisa have to tell you later.
Yeah. And then I think it was the second or third time. Every time we've been there, I've been there probably a dozen times at least investigating. Every time we've been there, we've got something that just is absolutely amazing. There's never a time that we've been there that we've not gotten something. We've gotten several thermals. We got a couple thermals. Oh, I don't know how many times later that was, but we got some thermals up in the servants' quarters. I was trying to do an EVP session with a couple pieces of equipment and my audio recorder, and it just kept shutting off. I had brand new batteries in it. It kept shutting off. I put new batteries in it again. It kept shutting off. And finally, I just said, "Would you please leave my recorder alone? Let me get 5 or 10 minutes in, then you can do whatever you want with it." And about that time, Gabriel said, "Mom, there's something sitting right next to you." And sure enough, it was. And if you look at the picture, you can actually see the recorder in my hand and like an energy streak going from the recorder to this thermal image that is sitting almost head to head with me. And then a few minutes later, it disappeared. And a few minutes later, we decided to lay down. It was one of the nights that we spent the night. And he caught it sitting next to me, looking down at me again. I've heard just about everything you can think of in the place. Footsteps, screaming, voices, singing, music, bangs. We were there one night. Steve and Wendy was outside, and I was upstairs with Chris. This was the night that they had filmed part of the Ghost Brothers episode. And we were up in the children's room doing some EVP sessions, and we were getting a lot of stuff. We were getting a little girl coming through and hearing things. And the next thing you know, it sounded like about half of the building fell down. And
yeah, that was crazy. Wendy and I.
Yeah, it literally rocked the house.
Wait, what fell down?
Nothing fell down. Nothing.
Oh, sorry. Xander, I had to tell him to be quiet and go to sleep because he's over here yapping.
No, it sounded like about half of the house
Chris were
fell down.
in the house, and Wendy and I were all the way out to my barn, and we heard this loud bang, just as loud as can be, come from the house. And I was like, "What the heck?" I mean, all I can think of is Ghost Brothers had all these tables stacked really high in the dining room, full of equipment, very expensive equipment. I was like, "Oh no, those tables just collapsed."
Oh, I say that you said more than oh no.
Well, it's not my money. They signed a
I
waiver.
I did. I was upstairs.
Yeah. I was like, what did Barb do?
Yeah.
Can't take her anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah, but we came running back to the house, and so we met up with Barb and Chris, and they were saying what she just said. And then from there, we wandered around. We're like, something had to have collapsed. We walked in, and the tables and everything was fine. I'm like, maybe some wall in the basement, which wouldn't make any sense. This house is very structurally sound. And we went through the whole house, top to bottom, nothing.
Wow. I know we heard slamming doors that day, or something sounded like it was falling off knocked off the shelf or something.
Yeah, about 5:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
We heard something, and we looked and looked, and of course, again, we found nothing.
It was around 3:30.
Was it that early? I thought it was later than that.
It was around 3:34, and then we nosed around for about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay. I lose track of time up there. It just goes by so fast.
Yeah, time goes by very fast here.
It does. And that's really odd because I'll investigate other places. Like that night, or from 9 to midnight, it went like an hour, it felt like. And I couldn't believe it was 5:30 when we went to bed.
I'm glad somebody else thinks that too. I thought it was just me.
Nope.
Oh, no, I get that all the time. People are like, what? What time is it? Everyone's always shocked on how the time just really flies by here. And even me, like when I'll be working and I'll sit around and take a break. And I'm like, have I been sitting here for 2 hours or something? Like, where on earth did the time go?
I do have a question for you, Steve.
Sure.
You said you heard screams from the house.
Yes.
I have heard that it was screams, and then somebody else said it was something inside the house that makes that noise. Like a door or something slammed or something squeaked like a door and made it sound like it was screams.
I don't know what door that would be, but that's possible.
Somebody said it, but
yeah, I've heard it. I've heard the scream, like the very first day I was out here cleaning, I heard the scream twice. And then...
And you didn't sell the house right then?
I just had bought it. What am I going to do?
Have a refund, please.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll pay for the days I've had it.
Yeah. But then I've heard it, I think, one other time. And then I've heard like moaning and crying. But yeah, people have heard like a very intense scream. People have heard screams. That's a repeated pattern. Oddly enough, what we were talking about earlier with what sounds like the whole house collapsing, that's a repeated pattern. Because that's happened to me twice. Once with Barb, and then one time really early. I had some friends that were here, and they had an RV, and they were parked out in front, and they were spending the night, and I was leaving, and it was pitch black, and this is like 2 or something at night. And so I didn't have a flashlight or anything, and I was walking back to my vehicle in the backyard, and all of a sudden it sounded like a wall just collapsed. It was just like a wall of bricks, just crazy loud. So much so where like I threw myself against the side of the car because you just felt like something was falling towards you or something. And like I said, I didn't have a flashlight. I'm like, I had barely owned the place. And so I just assumed something collapsed. And I was like, I don't even want to deal with it. I'm going to be back in the morning. I'll deal with it then. And so all night, all I could think of was just some huge mess of bricks I was going to have to deal with. And I come back, nothing out of place, nothing moved. I mean, that's how big it was, where I for sure thought I had a huge pile of bricks to deal with.
It's crazy the way that place is built. They don't build them like that anymore. And Chris and I were in the building when it happened, and the entire house shook.
Yeah. And that's happened to me. I remember once I had my nephew was here. He had a couple of his soccer buddies, and we were up in the red room upstairs, and we were sitting there, and they were asking questions, and all of a sudden the whole house shook. This house doesn't. I don't know what. This house doesn't shake. It's built 3 brick deep. The construction's crazy. It's all settled. It's very sturdy. There's nothing that could possibly make this structure shake, but you still feel it.
Oh, yeah, you sure do.
So, yeah, that's one of those. Doesn't happen very often, but it is a repeated pattern.
Now, how tall are the ceilings? Are they 8 feet or 10 or 12? Well, I know they're not 8, but are they 10 or 12?
Yeah, they are 11 feet, 10 inches.
Oh. Just
shy of 12.
So
I don't know why they did 11 feet, 10 inches. I'm like, you couldn't have done 2 more or just made it. But yeah, it's 11 feet, 10 inches.
I was wondering because I was like, really, really tall. And they're very, very solid.
Yeah, 1.5 feet thick. Every wall in this house is about 1.5 feet thick of brick.
And I did notice upstairs in the children's room, I was telling Barb when we were up there, who else was with us? Lisa and Megan. Where the wheelchair is. I had told them, I said, that would really make me nervous the way that the windows are right there at the floor with kids.
Oh, yeah.
That my kids would.
Well, the only saving grace with that is there's the Juliet balcony right there. But yeah, you'd want to keep those locked.
Oh, my kids would go out there and try to escape. The one would probably try to climb down. I'm telling you. Ariana would go out there and think she's a princess and play with veils and stuff. Xander would probably try to climb down. He said, "What?"
What?
He's like, "What?"
Kids are fascinated by this place, which is odd to me. Anytime the kids have, especially younger ones, like under like 5, under 6, they're just like oohing and aahing and want to come in and just think it's so neat. And I don't have kids. Kids can't come in. I don't allow children in the house, not very often, and for a very short amount of time. That's actually one of the weird stories with the owners of the house. I had another lady that came up to me that said how she was going to buy the house when it was for sale by owner, and that she had been in the house, talked to the couple that wouldn't talk to me, and was going through the house. That's how she liked it, and came back a second time and was basically talking about how she thought she was going to want to buy it, and they were talking along those lines. And then she just happened to mention that she had kids, and they stopped her right there in her tracks and said, "Oh no, kids can't live here." And she said, "Oh, well, I know it needs a lot of work, and we're going to have to do that." And they're like, no matter how much money you put into this house, children cannot live here. And they basically kicked her out.
Did they ever give a reason why?
The rumor is, which I've not been able to confirm this at all, so this is a complete story to me, but they told because she called back or came back again and said, "Can you just explain to me why you don't want to sell me the place?" And supposedly they said how they were distant relatives of the Powells somehow. And they wanted to buy the house to get it back in the family, which right there doesn't make much sense to me because, like I said before, from all the research we've done, there doesn't seem to be a line of Powells left. But maybe they could have been like cousins or something from marriage. And they said they had known a family that had lived here, and that family had a daughter. And once they moved in, that daughter started acting really weird and strange and really withdrawn. And she just kept to herself in her room. But whenever they'd leave the house, like go to school or they'd go out and do functions or out to dinner, she was all back to her normal self. But anytime they came home, she was all sullen and not happy and in her room. And she just kept on getting worse and worse and worse, where it got to the point where she was getting very negative and mean, I guess. And it went so far as to one day they woke up in the middle of the night and she was standing over them with a knife in her hand. And after that, they packed up and left. And so because of that, the couple that I bought it from thinks that there's something to do with this house and children, and that no children should live here. And like, I guess the girl was getting possessed or something. And so they didn't believe children should live here. And it's kind of funny in the sense of the two people they were willing to sell it to is between me and this other guy. I'm single, I have no kids, and the other guy was going to bulldoze the place.
Oh,
Wow.
And so those are the two. So either way, children wouldn't be living here.
Yeah, the place wouldn't even be there if the other guy got it.
Right. And there's a lot of childlike activity in the house. And so I don't know. I think I could see how if they get a lot of attention, but if you had an actual living child in the house, that child's going to get all the attention and they're not going to get any of it. Just the opposite, where they probably want them to not be around and wanting, if they were showing themselves or whatever, people would want to get rid of them. And so I could see how that could be not something that would go over well.
that would make sense.
That's, of course, I mean, this is all just in my head.
What is that noise?
So that's my dog whining.
Oh, I thought maybe I am laughing at my son. He just texted me. My oldest. He's 15. And he has our aunt's dog and said they went, Dottie went in the other room, looked out the window, growled, and is now hiding underneath the bed.
Uh-oh.
And he goes, "Oh, my night light's in that room." This is the same one when I went to Waverly Hills. He called me on my way down there and says, "Mom, will you come back? There's something outside the window." Nope, you're on your own. But, well, I guess we can tell them about what happened at National Ghost Hunting Day. Sound good?
Sounds good. Lisa, go right ahead. These guys listen to me all the time.
Well, I don't even know how to begin. Steve had told us that on one side of the house that it was pretty evil. And, of course, everybody was inside, and we were just standing outside, and Barb and I was like, let's go over there. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, Lisa.
I know, right? I mean, why can't I say, okay, I'm game. So me and her go, and we walk over, and she has taken the equipment, and I have my phone and all this stuff, and we get over there, and everything just starts shutting down. We barely had, I think our light worked for just a minute, but then it shut down, like the batteries went dead. Or we thought the batteries had went dead, but we just had new batteries put in. But the minute that we started to walk around that side of the house, the temperature dropped about, I'm going to say a good 15 degrees. And you guys think I'm crazy, but I'm not kidding. We walked
No,
around.
it did. It did. You could see your breath.
Yes. It was so cold that you were shivering from the inside out just because you were so cold. And
it was like 80 degrees that day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was really warm that day. So it was crazy. So we get to the edge where we start to hear a little bit of creaking and something coming from the woods. We wasn't sure exactly what it was. Good daggone thing. We didn't know what it was because we would have ran. I know I would have ran the other way before it had a chance to do what it did. But we're standing there, and all of a sudden, I look at Barb and I said, "Did you see that?" And she said, "I was going to ask you the same thing." And it was something incredibly tall at first. And then it just went down on all fours and became about 3 or 4 feet tall, I'm going to guess. We could still see it, but the main thing that we seen was it immediately turned a different form, and we seen yellow eyes. And hold on just a minute, my TV just kicked on. How bizarre is that? And I had it muted, so give me just a second. Sorry, guys. Well, good grief. Okay, Barb, you can pick up.
No, go ahead. You're doing fine, hon.
Okay, let me get the TV off. I'm sorry. Okay. We see yellow eyes, and I grabbed Barb, and she grabbed me and said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yes." "Did you see that?" And then it caught us seeing it, and it turned another form. And this form is a form that will forever haunt me because I can't explain it. It was white, but it disfigured. I mean, it's like its head turned around. It started walking towards us in like I don't know if you've ever seen like The Grunge or one of those movies where somebody gets really disfigured and they start climbing on the walls. That's what this form took, only it was white. And it started coming towards us. We couldn't move at this point. We could not move. And we just kept talking to it, telling it that we was not there to harm it, that we were just there to ask it questions and just to get to know it, and that we weren't there to harm. Well, then we hear something on the opposite. This was on my left side. Then we hear something on Barb's right, on the right side, on Barb's side. And she's like, "Did you hear that?" And we caught a glimpse of another figure, but we couldn't get any. It wasn't clear enough to see what it was. And then they both, all of a sudden, I mean, we're freezing to death. You can see our breath, and then all of a sudden, they're gone. So our flashlights work again. So we walked in. This was the biggest mistake that we did, is we walked into their territory and got into the woods, and I wasn't going to let Barb go by herself, so she's leading the way. She's about 15 feet in. I'm about 10 feet in, and all of a sudden we hear this ghastly growl that was telling us it's after 9, so it was telling us to get the hell out, basically. So we turn around and we start to back out, and we're saying, "We're sorry. We didn't come into your territory to hurt you, to harm you, or anything. We're getting out." We get to literally from the edge of the woods to the grass, and sulfur and death come over us both instantly, and we both. I start puking. She starts puking. We're laughing because we're puking. It's coming out my nose. And then he immediately puts us both to the ground. And we can't move for about 10 minutes, possibly 15. I don't even know. But we could not get the smell out of our mouth, out of us. I mean, it was unreal. I mean, it was just unreal. And we kept trying to apologize and trying to move, but we couldn't. Another thing that happened to us as we were walking towards that area, which I forgot to mention, we both started feeling really wobbly, kind of like we had smoked a joint or took a big hit of acid or something, because our whole equilibrium was just going, it was off. It was way off from the point that we got to the woods to talk. I mean, we felt really strange to begin with. So it was definitely something that I want to go back and try to get on film, because Yeah, I know, right? Y'all are laughing at me. Stop it. Because it's just something that I feel like people think I'm crazy and that I'm making this up, but there's no way I could make this up.
No, no way.
It happened to us both. We both seen the same thing. We both couldn't move. We both were puking, and the smell was ungodly and dreadfully. And I still
Did it
have
smell like death? Because we had some, um, I had some guys over here volunteering. Actually, Chris, it was Chris that smelled it. Barb, and
that was an
they,
understatement, Steve.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it was, and I spoke to Chris just a couple of days ago, and he told me that he was on that side of the house and smelled sulfur and what smelled like roadkill or something, and it was like, oh, thank you so much, because that confirms exactly what we just experienced.
yeah.
yeah, because what happened was that's the south side of the house, and I always tell people, I'm like, I don't even like going on the south side of the house. And we had some metal that I was moving back to the backyard to take for recycling. And I was like, oh, God, can you guys just carry it? Just go around the house and put it on that cart. And they went and did it. On the way back, Chris was like, what died over there? It smells so bad. It smells like death and sulfur. And then we went back over there and you couldn't smell anything.
That was it.
Yeah, I mean, it was disgusting. I mean, I tasted it for days.
Right,
Ew.
right.
And I felt strange for days. I mean, after it happened, like my left side, I had like, and I hadn't got to tell anybody about this, but like I had like a bruise where he must have pushed me down because I was standing up puking, and that's why it came out my nose. Barb went to the ground pretty quickly, but he pushed me down about the same time, and I had a bruise. I still have a little bit of a bruise on my shoulder from where that happened.
Wow.
Did
So
anybody take pictures of that?
I did. Yep,
Can you send them to me?
absolutely.
You don't. Okay, so I deal with cryptids too. I don't know if you knew that part. I run the Indiana chapter of the NADP, so I'm always doing something with cryptids. I think, and Steve and I talked about this. He thinks it's a Wendigo. I think it's a skinwalker.
I think it was a skinwalker.
And that's the only time I'm going to say that,
Yeah.
because repeat that name, that draws them to you.
Well, I won't say the name since I'm here, but what is that exactly?
It is it's a shapeshifter.
It's Native American.
Yep. And you have Native American grounds there, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
We have what we think could be a death circle. But then I haven't had any experts out here to confirm that at all. It just resembles that. But
Right.
I'm on a strip of land that's known for being a very spiritual area throughout the Native American community that was here. You just go right north of me, and that's the high school, and there's a Indian mound there. And then right north of the city limits, there's a bunch of Indian mound. There's a whole area there. And then, of course, even further north you go, and that's Mound State Park in Anderson. And if you look up ley lines in Indiana, there's a little picture that comes up, and there's going to be a line that goes straight through Newcastle. And all those things all line up with Serpent Mound or Serpent Hill, which is a giant Native American area in Ohio.
Very, very possible.
That's what I think it was. This is what technically the term for SWs are. In the Navajo language, it translates to by means of it, it goes on all fours. Let's see. It's not well understood outside the Navajo culture, mostly due to reluctance to discuss subjects with outsiders, which it's that way a lot in the Native American culture. They won't discuss Bigfoot, Sasquatch. They won't discuss dogmen or devil dogs. Let's see what else.
They won't discuss, excuse me, they won't discuss skinwalkers either because they believe that anybody in their community could be one, and they don't want to discuss
Right.
it with them in case they are one.
And they will not pick up if you're driving at night, say in Arizona, out in the desert by yourself, or even with somebody. If somebody's walking along the road, they won't pick you up. You could be out there
Exactly.
screaming for hours because they're afraid that you're one, and if you get in their car, you're dead. It says Navajo witches represent. Well, can you yell in there? What it does is basically they put a curse on you and it changes you into this. You take shape of this and you're like that the rest of your life. I have a bunch of background on it. I do a cryptid presentation.
That's why I send my volunteers on the south side of the house.
They what?
That's why I send my volunteers on the south side of the house.
I guess I know where I'm going the next time I'm up there, huh?
Drug right along with you. Let's go. Okay. But
I felt so bad for Lisa. God love her. That's the first time I ever met her, and I take her outside and make her sicker than a dog.
It was fun.
Lisa Grubbs just said that it made her feel that way too. I didn't know she encountered it.
We took, Barb and I went back and we actually told everybody what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And we took a couple more people back around, and it shut their equipment off again, but he never showed himself, but he did make them feel funny.
Get up there.
Very heavy air, hard to breathe.
Yes.
Cold. I think someone said they started to feel sick. So it's like, okay, let's go. We don't want to put anybody else through this.
Now I know Megan said she was on the porch. She looked over that way and was peeking around the corner of the house. And that's because Barb decided to invite it into the yard.
That's what we're there for.
She's like, oh, I invited it up. I'm like, not onto the porch.
No, just into the yard. Just into the yard.
Well, I just want to tell you, I think you're all assholes because my car was the only one back there. And I knew none of this when I wandered back there in the dark by myself to move my car.
Sorry.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So thanks a lot.
Well, we made it exciting. I mean, well, he made it exciting. Yeah.
That's when I left. I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, you did. Said see ya.
Just Barry, whoever doesn't make it.
Just
Thanks, Steve.
Just throw him in the fire.
Right?
See how they do me, Lisa?
I know, right? I mean, hello.
We'll bury you in a cornfield across the road.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I'm putting that new backyard in. It's pretty soft right there.
Now, I have a creepy story when we were out at the fire pit. Was it you, Lisa, that said
yes,
you saw something standing behind me?
Very tall. Very tall. Very quick, but very tall.
Now, did it stand behind anybody else or just me?
Just you.
And see, do you remember me saying, I kept saying there was something out there. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
And then after you told me that was standing behind me, do you remember me asking, did you guys hear that? Because I heard something run along the tree line from one end where like the path comes back there to back into the woods. I heard it, and I think I was the only one that heard that. But I think Megan said she heard tree limbs breaking behind her on the side behind you guys, because we were sitting across each other.
And you did say that, and I didn't hear that, but I did see. I mean, it was plain as day. You know, it was black as. I mean, it was black. The shadow was behind you. I mean, it was there.
They love me, don't they?
They do. They like your butt too. So just saying.
I think that's what it is. You know, all the junk back there. I told my friend today, I said, you know, if I chopped my ass off, it still wouldn't be gone. That would leave me. We were talking about losing weight. I was like, it's never going to leave. So, should I tell about what I experienced that evening?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, apparently I have a friend there. Hold on. Barb, can you
Yes.
take over? Xander's whining. So, hold on.
Okay. When we were doing the first session that we all did together in the main hall, Jen was standing in the doorway next to the front door and the staircase. And I had the thermal. I was sitting over on the opposite side of the room for a while. I was sitting there with Steve. He was filming for Facebook, and we were looking through the thermal, and I kept getting something. I kept seeing something out of the corner of my eye behind Jen in the hallway there. So I got up and walked over to the other doorway in the farther side of the main hall there by the fireplace and walked around to the opposite side of the staircase and was just shooting the thermal over towards Jen. Excuse me. And she just happened to step forward a step as she was talking. She was asking some questions, and I caught a shadow figure behind her. But as soon as she stepped forward, it was just a second of a glimpse, and it stepped forward so that I could, like, it knew I could see it, and it didn't want me to see it. So I kept standing over there, going from out in the hallway to the parlor, and kept trying to catch this thing because every time she would move, I could see it on the other side of her. But it was just a split second. I didn't even have a time to snap a picture on the thermal. But it was there, and I caught it a couple different times, not in the thermal, but out the corner of my eye. The rest of the night, it seemed like every time I looked over at her, I could catch it standing on the other side of her or behind her.
Well, remember I kept saying I was really cold?
Mm-hmm.
And then the one time I was standing in the doorway and I got really cold and I moved over, like, by the wall out of the way, like somebody went through. And we actually have Simon Powell come through, I think. Yeah, on the spirit box. And
Right.
I said,
You're right.
was I in your way? Is why you couldn't come through? And he said, yes.
Yep.
And I moved out of his way. But I could feel it like on the bottom of the stairs. I could feel it. And I knew something was up, and I kept hearing stuff in the hallway down there too. And then later that night we went upstairs, and it was, I think, Lisa Grubbs, and Mike was there, I was there, and two other people were there. I don't remember who.
Teresa was
Huh?
Teresa was there because that's when we were outside. Y'all left us outside.
Okay. Yeah. And we went upstairs and I was asking questions, and I asked if they were protecting me, and they said yes. And it was a man. And I asked why he was protecting me, and I never got an answer. And then I had told Steve this, and I told her this. I come home Sunday morning, and it was Sunday night or Monday night. I had went to bed, and I looked outside my bedroom door, and there was a man standing out there.
My God.
I didn't bring anybody home with me. It was just like I looked out there, and he was there 2 times. I looked out, and then he was gone. And I had told Barb this, and she thought maybe he had come to check on me. He said he was going to protect me, so maybe he's just checking on me. And the other day, he's like, I have a doorway into my kitchen from my living room, and he was standing there. He got a really odd look on his face. And mind you, he never says, hey, I see this, I see that. Ariana's the one that does that. But he had a really odd look, and he kept looking in the kitchen, and I was waiting on it. He goes, Mommy, there's a ghost in the kitchen. I said, well, is it a man or a woman? It's a ghost. And just by the look on his face, I knew that he had seen something. But I have a woman and a child here, so I don't know if it was one of them or not. but it was just kind of odd after after I saw that shadow in there by my bedroom that he saw that. So that's my creepy story. I have a stalker.
I think we lost Steve again.
I think we did, yeah.
No, I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Lisa said that her and Megan saw that shadow and glowing spots. I imagine that's their eyes. Oh, Xander said he found the ghost.
After we all walked back the second time around the house, we decided to stand out front because I had asked it to show itself in the yard. And we just kind of hung around, and we did hear some type of growl the second time. Well, actually, I think Lisa and I heard it the first time as well, but the other girls heard it the second time as well. And once we got around the side of the house, we decided to kind of hang out in front of my car, which was right in front of the house, and just kind of keep an eye on the woods. And a couple people said that they seen something peek around the side of the house looking at us with the yellow glowing eyes, which is why I went into the woods to start with. There were some little yellow flowers on a couple weeds there, and I wanted to make sure that there was no way we were looking at those yellow flowers thinking they were glowing, or I was trying my very best to debunk it. There was absolutely nothing there that would have showed yellow and glowing, up high, down low, anywhere in between.
Okay, go to sleep.
And the yellow was such it wasn't a normal yellow.
No, it was extremely intense.
Yeah. I mean,
Did it look reflective?
No.
No, it just glowed.
I mean, they just were piercing yellow glowing eyes. That's about all I can say about it.
And they did not blink.
No.
They just disappeared. They were there and then they were gone.
So they shut on and off, basically.
Right.
I have asked a couple people and I haven't got an answer yet. So I'm still waiting. Can you hold on? Xander is freaking out on me. He swears there's a man in here. Hold on.
Yellow eyes, that's the first time I've heard about yellow. I've heard several people talk about seeing some very large black figure with red eyes.
Right. That's what I couldn't understand. I would have expected to see red glowing eyes, but these were bright, extremely bright yellow and just glowed. And what I seen, they weren't real big.
No, they were real. I mean,
they were small.
This is going to sound retarded, but they almost made you sound. They almost look like an alien eye.
Exactly. And
that's all I can describe them.
Yeah.
Almost look like what?
Like alien eyes.
Like the almond shaped?
Oh, okay.
And very, very small.
Yeah, they were really tiny. They weren't. But they made you. They wanted you to. He didn't want. I don't think he wanted us to see his eyes. I think that's why he shape-shifted into the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Well, cryptids aren't pretty.
Yeah, well, he definitely was. He lacked in beauty. Let's just say that.
But, yeah, that's that. I've never experienced anything like that ever.
Well, remember when we were upstairs, and you can see this on the videos that we have posted on our second session. It's on SIGH's Facebook page. Remember we were upstairs and I thought I heard a car door slam downstairs?
Uh-huh.
And you took off and I took off with you?
Mm-hmm.
You heard something below us in the garage area. It sounded like it was walking around and we didn't see anything. Then it sounded like off the porch where you would have gravel on a driveway. It sounded like gravel over there, like somebody running through it. Remember that?
Right. Sure do.
Lisa said it was dark black with little glowing eyes. Steve, Barb, and I heard a sound in the woods standing on the porch. I kept hearing thumps in the woods.
Now this was on the north side of the house. We heard that several times that night.
Oh yeah, like a basketball or something hitting into a bucket.
Uh-huh.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember hearing that sound
Yeah.
where it was a loud sound out towards the barn area, or at least
Right.
looking towards the north lawn.
Yeah.
And I just remember commenting like, that's not like a sound, like, it's not like a nature sound. It wasn't a, you know, breaking twigs or raw. I mean, it was a weird sound that you don't hear in nature.
Right.
Well,
And you had some plastic buckets there, but I walked over and checked. There was nothing there that should have made that sound.
I do know you need more lights out there for my sake.
I
Not
agree.
anybody else's, just mine. Since they let me walk out there by myself, let them get 8. I don't care.
Thanks. But remember whenever we went to the barn, Barb, and you got up there and we heard something like up there, but there was nothing. We thought it was vultures, but it was there was nothing.
Right. And there was 3 or 4 people down underneath that swore somebody ran across there.
Yeah. And I'm holding her thinking, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, if she pops out, she's going to pee on me.
Are you sure you got into some vulture poo that night, or was it something
Yes.
else?
No, she got into the vulture poo that night too.
Yeah, I did. I always seem to find that kind of stuff. That's just how I roll. Steve can tell you that.
I always find the shit. That's how I roll.
Oh, that's how I roll.
Oh.
Yeah, it was, bless her heart. What a way to meet somebody. I mean, only at Thornhaven. Only at Thornhaven.
Hey, we got
Well, that's why you guys came, so you got what you asked for.
Watch, when Steve leaves tonight, he'll be like looking everywhere for glowing eyes.
I'm
Right.
not gonna be looking for anything. I don't look for this stuff.
He's not looking up. He's looking straight at the truck and leaving.
I don't investigate.
Like waiting on him.
Yeah, when I hear things here, especially if I'm by myself, I don't go look for it. I just leave. If there's something upstairs, I go downstairs and then leave. That's what I do.
Well, that morning when we got up, we were walking around, and Megan told me, I said, we were looking back there and we heard something. And we both looked at each other and we heard thuds. And we were like, did you hear that? Yeah. Did you hear that? Yeah. And we walked back there. She showed me where the burial is. And we heard something like breaking limbs back there. I did not hear tree knocks or anything that night or anything because I did listen. Then we were walking back and we kept hearing thuds, and I turned around and was talking to Barb, and Mike was standing there too. And I had my back where those cattails are, like where you just took down those trees and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Barb was bullshitting me. She goes, did you see that? I said, really? Like, no, seriously, something just ran across that path. I said, no, it didn't. I said, you're playing with me.
No.
And I'm thinking, how am I supposed to see something when I'm looking at you? But I swear, if it would have been back there, she would have ran smack into it and hit it because she took off running. And then when we were back there, we kept hearing stuff, and you didn't find any footprints or anything, did you?
No footprints. There was water back there. The water hadn't been disturbed. The mud wasn't disturbed. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And when we were standing up there, we heard Megan kept telling me she heard a weird like noise. And
Are you talking about right there at the end of where we're working on the backyard?
Yes.
And then like there's water to the left.
Yes.
I had a lady out here, not paranormal or anything. She knew a lot about not landscaping, but the natural lay of land and stuff like that. And she said that area right there, she's like, you have a black hole right there.
Oh, wow.
A portal?
She called it a black hole. I didn't know what that meant.
Is that what it mean? Is that what it is, Barb? A portal?
I don't know. This is the first I've heard of this.
A black hole? Would it be?
A black hole. I'm not
But
sure
she
what
was referring in the sense of like land and the way things are laid out. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't quite understand what she meant. I said, what do you mean? She's like, oh, you have a black hole back. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what to say about that.
Well, something run through there, and it was it to me. I thought it was the same thing I seen the night before.
Oh,
Well,
Lord.
Well, Megan said that when you know how there were squirrels back there and woodpeckers and they make all kinds of noises. She said she heard a different kind of chatter. It sounded like teeth chatter. And remember when we were standing back there, right there, if you're back there on the left, just before the water, where those trees and shrubs are, if you're looking towards the woods, it would be on your left. Do you remember? I heard that chatter and I asked her, I said, is that the noise you heard? And she said, yes, that's it.
Yes.
We also heard a low growl that sounded
Right.
like it was close to the ground.
It's the same things that Lisa and I heard the night before.
Yes.
It's a growl, but it's not a growl that I've ever heard before. And the other is like I don't even know how to explain the other. I've never heard anything like that ever, even on TV.
Yeah, that was that. The other noise that the other growl was, "Get the hell out of my territory." Period.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. It was that deep, that fierce, that scary.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't charge.
No, and it could have had us. We were both on our knees puking.
Yeah.
Puking and laughing, are you okay? Yeah. Are you okay? Yeah. And then we're laughing because we're on our knees. But whatever, if whatever it was wanted us, it could have had us numerous times.
And that's a way with it is a lot with cryptids. If they want you, they could have you. And you wouldn't.
Oh yeah, he paralyzed me. I mean, I could not. I literally felt like the weight on my legs was it was 50 pounds, and there was no way I could move.
Right, it was like walking through quicksand. Yes.
Yes.
And the chest heaviness was just, and the head heaviness. Like I always know when there's something around me, I feel like I'm going up in an airplane. I get, my head gets real congested. A lot of pressure, head pressure. It was just crazy.
And then, but the bad thing is after we got up and got our composure and walked back around, we literally had to help each other walk back through.
Yeah.
Because we were so weak and our equilibrium was off so much that we had to help each other back through to get on the porch, and then we barely got up the steps.
Right. And it took a good hour to get our land legs back. And,
Yep.
I'm helping her and she's helping me. And I try to get us a drink because we just threw up everything we had in our stomachs. And Megan came out and Megan was trying to help us both. Like I said, I've never experienced anything like that ever in 10 years.
Well, I told you what happened to my groundskeeper out here, didn't I?
I don't think so.
Well, he's not my he's not my groundskeeper anymore. He's been with me since almost the beginning. And he's a guy who never believes in any of this stuff. Even though a couple things had happened to him, and he was starting to kind of at least be to the point where he couldn't explain it. Well, anyway, this was when I was working on that backyard where we were cutting down trees and we were digging up and tearing down that hill because we're putting in a proper back lawn. And that was 2 days of us disturbing the grounds. And he was staying here in a trailer by himself. So the 2 days had come and gone, and I left, and the guys who were working on it left, and he stayed. And he was in the trailer. And he said that he was in there, and all of a sudden, the trailer just started shaking. And so he thought one of two things. There was a storm about ready to roll in. So maybe it was the wind, or there's some teenagers messing with him. So he instantly ran out of the trailer to confront whatever was going on. No teenagers. I mean, he said he got out of there. I mean, I got a lot of lanes. You could see every which direction. So no one could get away fast enough for him not to see him. And he said he looked off at this distance and the storm's coming in, but there was not any breeze whatsoever yet. But the crazy thing was, is he looked back and his trailer was still shaking. So he was watching it now from the outside shaking.
Wow.
That's creepy.
So,
Wow.
yeah, I just talked to him again about this. And the first time he told me, I thought he said that his arms started burning. And when he went inside, he had scratches on him, but it's a little bit different than that. His back was burning. And when he went inside, he didn't think anything of it. And he just got into his car and left. And then when he went home, he was telling his wife that his back was burning, and he lifted up his shirt and he had 3 scratch marks down his back.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
But then I think he said, I don't know if he came back that night or if he came back the next day, but then his arm started burning and he looked down and something was written into his arm. Like not a scratch, like a word.
You're kidding.
And he took a picture of it and sent it to his wife. And she told him to get out of there and that she's not going to tell him, because she looked it up, what he sent her, the picture of his arm. And she said he needs to leave and that she refuses to tell him what she found out, what she looked up. And still to this day, he's like, I don't know what, I don't know what she found, but she won't tell me and I haven't asked.
Well, didn't you say there's something negative on the south side that
there's something negative on the grounds? Like there's some kind of negativity in the house, but most of it doesn't seem evil or anything. But outside, people have encountered pure, I don't know, evil or just negative.
And once again.
And so he quit. He basically has not been back.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, we're still friends, and I talked to him, and like I said, he stopped by the other day, but he doesn't want to be out here anymore by himself, especially.
Wow.
I mean, if that happened, holy cow.
Lisa says, hold on. Shit. I lost this. Hold on. My computer's acting weird. She said when you guys were back in the woods where you got sick, the obelisk said, teacher.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
when we went back the second time, I took the obelisk, and normally I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it because it usually says the same things over and over and over everywhere we go. But we actually got words on it that night that I have never heard it come out of it in the 5 or 6 years that we've had it. I think we got choke, and we got squeeze, which Lisa and I both said at the, when that started happening, it's like, Lisa, it feels like somebody just squeezed my stomach and kind of threw it right up to my throat. And she said, oh my God, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. We got
and
that.
Then we got,
remember, we got the word kiss. Like
kick.
Kiss us.
And then we got beat.
Yeah.
And then we got teacher. And we had a teacher standing there with us. And then we got alphabet and ABCs. And then we got something else. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it all kind of went along with what was going on. And that's when I said, okay, we need to go.
Yep.
She said, letter?
We got names. We got 3 names.
Yes, we got a couple names that I have never gotten up there before.
Yeah. And I don't remember what they were, but we did get 3 names.
I don't either. I've got them wrote down, but I don't remember them right offhand. And I think I even asked Steve about it, I think. But like I said, it's not names that I've ever gotten there.
Well, look at the creepy picture Steve had on the Facebook page.
Oh, the one that was captured upstairs?
Yeah.
Out of the bathroom window?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's screwed up.
Yes, it is. And to me, if what we caught was on a thermal, and that's not, but if you compare the two, if you would take what we got on thermal and if you could do that and put it on a regular digital picture, to me, it looks an awful lot like the same thing.
They do look similar. Very. Lisa said it's 3 men's names.
Yeah, it was 3 men.
But it wasn't names that I have ever heard that has been associated with the manor.
Wasn't it one of them Jack?
I believe so.
For some reason that keeps popping into my head, like that was one of them, was Jack. But
I can't for the life of me think of what they were now.
me either.
Maybe Lisa can type it up for us real quick if she remembers an answer.
Yeah, hopefully she does. I think by that time I was about brain dead.
Yeah,
I was spent.
I will say it was a very active night for the amount of people. She said Harry is one.
Yes.
Larry and Mo's probably the other 2.
Yeah.
Jack. I don't know why, but I think one was Jack, Harry, and
Something else.
They are One Direction fans.
yeah, Harry Styles.
Yeah. She said Tom.
That's it.
Tom, Harry, and Jack.
Yep. That's it.
Those are old names too.
So I'll be researching some more, trying to figure that one out.
Now, Steve, I'm thinking about this. You guys disturbed those woods back behind the house by those trees down and stuff. Do you think you could have upset something that had been there living?
That's the only thing I can think, because it's too coincidental that we had heavy equipment ripping up the land.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, we're taking down half a hill and ripping out tree stumps and completely changing the back of that house.
Maybe that's why it didn't want us going into the woods, Barb.
That's what I think, yeah.
Because he thought we were going to disturb more. Because it did not want us going into those woods.
No, and that's why I said I am sorry. I'm very sorry that I have intruded on your space. I didn't mean to. I was just trying to make sure that something wasn't glowing to make it look like eyes.
Kept apologizing, but it didn't matter that he still.
No.
It seems maybe some kind of protector.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doesn't mind when I mow.
Well, the whole time I didn't feel threatened. I don't know if you did, Lisa, but I've never felt threatened there.
No, I didn't feel threatened. I felt like he was trying to get a point across that you don't go into my woods.
What does it take for you guys to be threatened? My God.
I felt really safe while it had its arms around me.
While it was choking me and stabbing me repeatedly in the stomach, it was my friend.
No,
arms and hooves and.
Unfortunately, I've been in places where I felt threatened, and usually it gets nasty afterwards. But I have never felt threatened at Thornhaven. I've gotten a little spooked a time or two, but I've never felt.
That was just a friendly, happy throwing up session.
Yeah, but it was, yeah. We were laughing.
Yes, I by then I was slap happy.
I don't
and
know
it was
why
like I like I said, I was slap happy. I think I started it. It's like I'm on my knees back here puking. This poor girl who I just met a couple hours ago is behind me puking because I brought her out here, and it's like, oh. So I'm asking, "Are you okay?" And I'm, and then I'm laughing, and she's, yeah, are you okay? And it's, I can just imagine. I can imagine what we look like.
You were like sorority girls. You bonded.
we bonded all right.
We did. Not only there, but also when I'm holding her butt when she's,
Yeah, holding me up and.
Wait a minute. What?
No, but oh my gosh, other people would not understand this. Steve can understand it. He knows me, and Jen, you probably can too. But
I know
everybody else is just going to think I'm nuts.
I won't admit that I know you, but I know
you. You have to, because I'm never leaving.
Lisa sent you a message, Steve.
What?
Are you ready for Lisa's message?
Sure.
Like, maybe. Maybe I will just try to stay tonight. Uh, he said, "Watch out, Steve, going to your car tonight."
Oh.
Thanks.
Oh.
Now, I do
I'll
have
be fine. This house likes me.
Yes, it does.
I think it does too. I think if it didn't, you wouldn't be there still.
Exactly.
the spirits in the house do, but what's outside?
Well, that's another story. I'm not even going with that. What's
Yeah.
outside.
I kind of have this belief. It's like anytime I'm doing something that's improving, like if I'm cleaning something up or putting something back the way it was, the activity increases, but it's not negative. But
Right.
if I'm taking something down or destroying or pulling apart, it's again active, but negative.
Yep.
And so whenever I'm working on the yard, I'm cleaning it up and mowing and beautifying and pulling, stuff away from structures.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the first time I'm like literally tearing down stuff that's because it's just what I want.
Right. And it's got crazy.
Yeah.
What
Makes
if you
sense.
what if you put a memorial garden somewhere on the property for them?
For who?
For the spirits there.
Uh, um, well, I mean, one thing I do is I'm trying to recognize whatever we can figure out. And I've repeatedly said to people, because people are like, oh, why don't you just get the house cleansed, or why don't you, make them leave or something along those lines. And I say, no, because I've already said whatever's here is welcome to stay. And that I don't feel like I have the right to decide when something can come and go. So they're here, they were here before me. So I'm not about to,
And that's understandable.
and I don't think it would end well anyway. So
No, I think that's why they're happy with you, Steve. Every time we've ever been there, every time you've ever done anything with us, we've always told them as well as you have that you're not going to make them leave. You're not there
right.
to bother them. You're just there to try to bring the place back to what the grandeur that it once was.
Right.
Right.
And I think they're very happy with that.
Yeah,
This
there's going to
thing,
be some give and take because I mean, I'm going to do it my way, but it's in a direction, of getting better instead of worse. So I think there's going to be
exactly,
ups and downs, but for the most part, it should be positive.
exactly. And the people that you bring in, for the most part, everybody you've brought in has been very respectable.
Oh yeah, like
To the
90,
house and the home, and
95, 98% of the people, 98, I'd say up to 98% have been very respectful and come here for the right reasons, all that kind of good stuff.
exactly. And if they come in disrespecting, they're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, it's going to affect them more than me.
Exactly.
We do have a question. What is some advice you have for people starting to investigate and to do paranormal hunt? I can say you need to get with a team or go on public investigations with experienced people before you just go out and do it, because you will get hurt.
Absolutely.
But don't go on those big public ones because those have turned into a big, huge ripoff.
Yeah, they're like the
I
TV
won't name
shows.
the companies, but if it's some big company that you're going to end up with 100 people and everybody's charged $100, and if you go in there just to have fun, then do that. But if you're really trying to learn and figure it out, you need to do either one, try to join an existing group, or two, find a public one that is being run by people who are there to not just take advantage and make a quick buck.
Right.
If it's a small building, make sure there's not, 50 people in it. Ask some questions. If they don't, well, one, they should always show how many people are going to be invited and how big the place is. But yeah, if it's a house and then they don't show you how many people are going, I'd ask them, well, how many people, what's the limit? And if it's, more than what you would have in your own home, don't do it. It's going to be a waste of money.
Exactly.
And Barb and I can promote something right now since Steve said that. Can't we, Barb?
Oh, yeah.
So, in March, I am opening my own tour company. And it's not going to be like the existing ones where you pay so much money, like double what you would have for a private investigation. I always like to take the Rhodes Hotel, for example, because if I took my team there and spent the night and stayed the night at the hotel, for 10 of us, it would be $60 a piece. There are companies out there for you to drive yourself and to investigate and spend the night is over $130. So with my company, I take a set limit. Our first investigation, which actually I think Lisa Grubbs is going to go with on this one. And my team lead for that evening, her name is Christina Watson. She's from Ohio herself. We are going to go to the Gill House and the Fireman's Museum in Mansfield. Now, Fireman's Museum is quite small, and I'll take a maximum of 10 people. And the Gill House, I will max out at 20. And you can split up inside and outside and investigate. So right there, if it's not feasible, we won't do it. And if it's small, I won't take many people. You need during these tours and stuff, like you said, if it's a small house, you don't want 50 people there.
No.
You need to be able to understand what's going on, understand what we're doing, and understand the process we're going through and why we do it. And with that many people, you cannot do it. So with my company, I keep stuff small, and I do not charge you more than the company than we would be charged to go. But the other fees come in, like if you spend the night at the hotel or if you ride with us, and we always feed you. What else? We feed you. You have a variety of options with it. You can go to one investigation, you can go to both. It's just a big difference between what's out there right now and what I'm offering.
Exactly.
And Barb is one of my lead investigators. Her and my friend Cindy Voda from over in the Chicago area. They are my two lead investigators. And then Lisa Grubbs is going to be an investigator as well.
And the main thing, I keep saying this, and you're gonna get tired of hearing it, but the main thing is you show respect. You show respect for the place. You show respect for the spirits. That makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it does.
You don't bring in a ton of people. You bring in what you think the place can handle, where you'll get some activity. The 29th at Thornhaven, that was a big crowd. But for that place, because we could break people up, somebody in the basement, somebody outside, somebody at the barn, somebody in the house, that's why it worked. That's the only reason why it worked. You have to be very respectable of the place and the spirits that are there.
Exactly. And I frequent the Warsaw jail, the old jail over here in Warsaw, often. And the max that they will allow in there.
Well, that has nothing to do with investigating.
They, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Old one. The maximum people they will allow in there is 10, and that's Marion and Evelyn's rule. They are the ladies that run it from Wipers, Warsaw, Indiana Paranormal Research Society. They run it, and they say no more than 10. And personally, I won't take any more than 4 to 5, because more than that, you don't get anything, even when you split up. And we're doing a Halloween event with them, and I won't take more than 10 per group in there. We have 3 groups. One will start on the ghost tour, one will start on the cemetery, and the other will start at the jail. I'm not taking any more than 10 in any group. And there's no way I would. The place is too small. You won't get a good experience. So right there's a good example.
Exactly.
And I would think starting off, I mean, I'm no expert whatsoever, but I have seen a lot of groups come through here. To start off, all you need is your cell phone.
Right.
Because you can record on that, and you take pictures on that, and it has its little flashlight. I mean, to start off, that's all you really need. And then if you find out you truly are interested and keep going, then you can start adding on to it.
Yep.
Exactly.
And I know you mentioned that night when you were filming the live videos for the Facebook page. I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah. Because some of the best stuff has been just the best evidence have been photos and EVPs. That's right there on your phone.
And a lot of good evidence is when we're just sitting around just chatting.
Exactly, especially at Thornhaven. You know, you don't even have to be doing it. You can be up there on a work day cleaning and experience all kinds of things.
Oh, and it has nothing to do with nighttime.
It's all on their time.
Time of the day. I would think that's true for any place.
It is.
Sorry, I had to cough. Lisa, you got anything?
Oh, no. I think everything got covered pretty much.
Are you ready to go back?
Absolutely.
We'll be back, Steve. We'll be back, Steve.
We'll be back.
Well,
volunteers for Halloween. Every year, what I do for Halloween, I don't have an investigation or anything like that. What I like to do is it's for the community where I have the house all lit up, and it's just a typical come trick or treat. And so this year I'm doing a funhouse theme. And so I'm hoping to get people to dress up like clowns or sideshow or funhouse kind of characters to walk around and scare the kids. And
I'll bring Caden if it's clowns.
And yeah, it's just plain old trick or treating.
It's awesome. You guys would love it. The kids, even the adults. The adults are more like the kids than the kids are. I was up there last year, and I think he had about 100 people. So I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's growing every year.
Now, do you charge
a photographer who's very experienced in night photography? So she's probably gonna have some cool photos that she's gonna be taking of everybody and the kids and all that kind of stuff. And
you should send her to
trick or treat night. Steve.
What?
Hello.
Do it literally on October 31st, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
On Halloween, from 5 to 9.
Okay.
Oh, wow. And see, you're bringing stuff into the...
8, but I extend it to 9 o'clock because I think it's silly. I mean, I think it's silly how nowadays people trick-or-treat, it's not even dark yet.
I know.
And so I know more. And I'm also one of these people, it's like, if you're an adult and want to come trick-or-treat, go trick-or-treat. Have fun. It doesn't have to be kids 13 and under. If teenagers come here or adults come here, if you're dressed up and you got something to hold some candy in, come on by.
And see what people may hear this, and if you say you're going to be there, that may bring people in that's never been to Newcastle and up more business. See?
Exactly. That's what happened last year. Like I said, he had somebody from England and all kinds of places. All kinds of people were there, and the adults were just as entertained as the kids were.
Poo on the haters. How about that?
Exactly.
There's just a handful of them, but they're always the loudest ones, unfortunately.
Yeah, they are. Well,
it really is like 2 or 3 people. That's it.
Well, you know what'll solve that, right?
What's that?
Duct tape. Or a muzzle.
I think we should invite him up to spend the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and take him to the woods.
There you go.
Right? There you go.
Well, you wouldn't even have to go to the woods.
No.
Probably take this all wrong. They're going to take us to the woods and kill us. No, we're not. We're not talking about putting duct tape on your mouth to kill you either and bury you. No.
No.
Shut.
You can ask Steve about the police. If the police
Yeah.
are called there, they actually have gotten phone calls from the house at the police station from a phone that is not there any longer. And you can ask him about that. He can tell you a little story about that.
I had a cop here come and he's like, back in the 90s, we had over 10 911 calls that came from inside the house, but no one was living there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the cops don't like coming here. A lot of them are like, they don't have any desire to step foot on this land.
No. I think the last one, or one of them told you that if he couldn't shoot it with his gun, it was out of his jurisdiction, so he was leaving.
Yeah, pretty much.
So in there where you have the old phone sitting by the doorway underneath, what's that little equipment thing that will go off if something walks by?
It's a dandy.
Yes, under that on that shelf.
The phone.
Yeah. I don't remember who I was walking with, but I looked down at that phone and said, if that damn thing rings, I will shit myself right here. All I could imagine was like a Scooby-Doo mystery and it going ring, ring, and me just screaming like Scooby and Shaggy. That's all I could think of.
Yeah, well, just don't answer it.
Exactly. Don't answer it.
Okay. This would be my scenario of what would happen. It would ring. I would answer it, and it would be Freddy Krueger, like in the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Remember that?
Yeah.
The tongue came out of the phone.
Oh.
That would be my luck.
Oh, I got your back, Jen.
Yeah, well, you might have been carrying me the rest of the night if that happened. I'm telling you. But we did have a good time. Barb and I I would like to announce this. I talked to Steve about it earlier. Barb and I have got our heads together, and we talked to Steve, and we are considering it's not been established yet. It's not what's the word I'm looking for? Set in stone. It's not set in stone. If things come together, we are planning a fundraiser next year for Thornhaven. We got some ideas we're working on. If it all works out, we will be doing it. But Barb, Steve, and I have to get together and hash things out. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll be back to investigate. But all monies would go towards the restoration, maintenance, upkeep of the manor.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that you guys want to do that. And the only thing that keeps me from where we can't say if it's positive or not is, yet again, the city.
Exactly.
Anytime anybody wants to help me, they step in and say, no one's allowed to come help you, which is just, it's just so odd.
I was going to ask you, are you in city limits?
Yep, unfortunately. Right across the street for me is not.
Oh.
Well, who owns that cornfield?
I can't remember their names offhand.
Find out. And, we can host it somewhere else that's outside of city limit. And maybe if that falls through, we'll figure it out.
Legally, they don't have a leg to stand on, but they like to make things up. And since they're the city, who's going to stop them type thing.
Right. They can make it hard on us, but we can figure a way out.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they do to me all the time. And I've made a point to I've learned all the ordinances and all that kind of stuff. So they have a harder time lying to me, but they still do. Yeah, it's weird. It's a very weird situation. But like I said, I don't want to paint the town as it's not the town. It's two people, basically, 2-3 people.
Yeah.
But they got that.
As we said before, if we would have this fundraising event, how much, we would invite people from everywhere. And we would have investigations. And I've mentioned maybe, well, I'm not going to say what we've talked about, but it's not the time yet. But it would really benefit the town. You know that, and Barb knows that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it will bring a lot of people into Newcastle that's never been there, who would be like, where in the hell is Newcastle at?
Right. But now with this movie going, maybe I'm hoping that's going to turn things around a little bit.
I've had couple conversations, like a little birdie told me that, you know, people were complaining about how they should, well, I won't get into it, but basically people were poo-pooing it again. But literally someone stood up and said, we need to stop, you know, we need to stop keeping people with creative ideas from moving forward and doing things positive in this town and actually help them do it, because all they're doing is bringing more people in.
Right.
So why do we constantly try to stop these people from doing something different? And so that's the first time I ever heard that. This was during a city town meeting. I'm like, wow.
That's a big step forward.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
That's like the Hulk jumping. Lisa Grubb said again, she says, we're not having a fundraiser. We're just having a bonfire.
Oh, I can't have those either.
No, you can't have them in city limits.
Oh gosh.
We have a grill.
Okay, we're having a grill party. That's fun.
Right.
Yeah, and we bring some plastic pools and put them back there. Yeah, we're having a pool party. And we can get like one of those little tiny white picket fences that you put around your landscaping. That will be the pool, and they will be inside the fence. See?
Oh, and I'll guarantee that you have to have a permit to put a fence up.
Oh gosh.
I'm illegally putting fences up.
We're going to have a huge weenie roast.
Yeah, there we go. No, it's funny. I mean, like I might have mentioned this to you. I would love to film a docuseries about this place. I think it would go over well. I don't know if something as simple as like YouTube or, you know, pitching it to something bigger than that. But the idea of, one, it's a person restoring an old home. So that kind of fits into that whole HGTV where everybody loves restoration projects. Two, it's the history and the history of the house. And that's straight out of the History Channel where you're trying to figure out who's lived here and all these mysteries and wasn't this and wasn't that and are people buried here and did this occur here? And then
the Catherine for Crime TV.
Yeah. And then you got the paranormal, and then everybody loves a good fight, you know, fight for what's right type scenario where I'm constantly trying to fight to do something positive.
Exactly.
So I think it'd be really interesting. I just got to find the right people to do it.
I know a few people I can hook you up with if you'd like, Steve.
Yeah, I just got to really think it through. And if I do it, I want to make sure it's done my way.
Done right.
Very particular on how. And you guys, I mean, I'm very good to work. I can work well with others, but I have a vision and I have to stick with what I'm going to do. So that's why I think part of that's why everything takes so long, because I refuse to just jump into things. I have to really think it out.
Who's that sound like, Barb?
I respect that so much out of him. He, you know, and that's why things have been done the way they have been. He's going to do it, and he's going to do it right. Whether they give him a fight or not, he will stick with it, and he will stick to the very end and get it done right.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this. The TV shows, if they would come in there, like the big networks like Destination America or something like that, they would want you to do it their way.
He knows. Trust me.
Yeah.
I don't
have to, like, if I did do it, I'd probably put it on YouTube And because then if it did get popular, if you're already popular, then that means they have to do it your way. Because
Right.
you've got pull. But yeah, if it's literally out of, they just take a risk on you, yeah, you can't expect them to do anything but their way. They're the ones doing all the heavy lifting.
Lisa wants to know if the doll is still in your truck.
Yes.
And Chad says, run for mayor, Steve. The one we have now is living proof that anybody can get in.
There you go, Steve.
Well, I'm not doing it until after November, but I am going to be turning this into my primary address. This will be my primary residence, and that does involve with me registering here in town to vote.
There you go. There you go.
And
Get
not to be
Mayor York
political.
Huh?
I said, get Mayor York out. For real.
That's too bad. I got a big enough job as it is with this place.
He's done nothing but tear buildings down. It's just ridiculous. Ugh.
Well, you do have some people that buy buildings up, and then they promise the cities that they'll restore them, and they'll do this and they'll do that, and the money that they get from investigations they'll put towards that building, and instead they take big ass vacations overseas.
Now, you know as well as I do how many people do that, Jennifer. Steve is completely opposite of that.
And see, that's ridiculous. You get these properties, you need to take care of them and do exactly what he's doing. Restore
Exactly.
all the money that you get for that property should go to that property.
Not only that, but his own money and time.
Yeah, it really is silly that they do it. People who do that are being very short-sighted, because eventually your place is going to fall apart and then it's over. So yeah, you made X amount of money and you put it in your pocket, but now the place is condemned or falling apart and it's over, it's done. That's all the money you made. Mm-hmm. What I'm doing is putting all the money back into this place, making it nicer. So hopefully the nicer it gets, the more things I can do here, the bigger it generates, the more popular it gets. And when I'm dead, this place is still going on and it's still moving along and it's safe for the next generation.
I just thought of something. Do you have a trail cam on a tree in the backyard?
Yes.
Where does it photograph towards? And what are you trying to catch?
It's photographing towards the house, and it's to catch trespassers.
Okay. I was wondering if you could get another one and point it towards that side of the house in the woods.
Yeah, actually, I've had a few people say I need to just put some in the woods. And so, yeah, I'll definitely have to consider doing that.
Yeah, because it just kind of hit me when we were sitting here and I was thinking about that and listening to you guys talk. And I was like, wait, trail cam. Jody Cook should be proud of me. I remembered the trail cams and he's always telling me to put them out.
And y'all could have watched me and Lisa puke and laugh.
You know,
we can see some videos.
Exactly.
My trail cam actually video and it takes pictures. So yeah, I should have had that one out there that night. Next time, let me know when you're going to do something like that.
I'll have cameras over there from now on in.
Right? I mean, so he can't shut them down though. So because yeah.
Well, that's what I tell people when they come here. I say, don't spend all your time in the house. It's not the house. It's not even just my property. It's the whole neighborhood. I've heard stories, you know, but this house has a lot of activity. So most people don't find themselves ever taking a step out the door, and that's fine. But there's a whole cross section of investigating that is never, that doesn't happen here much.
Right. The barn's very active.
Yeah, with both.
Barn's active, the grounds are active. It's all about everybody stays in the house. And I get that, but I just encourage people to get outdoors here.
Yeah, check it all out.
I got bug spray.
Well, you guys got anything else?
No, I'm just ready for another adventure out there. That's for sure.
Steve, anything else you would like to tell us? Or
I just want to thank you for inviting me, and I really appreciate everybody's interest. It means a lot that other people are as interested in my home, if not more. I think some people are more obsessed with this place than I am, Barb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Barb. I don't know anybody that is Barb.
I don't even have to die to be there.
Yeah, just keep following. Everybody, please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And please let other people know that I'm here and to have them follow me as well. I'd really appreciate it. I do things for the most part word of mouth. I know that's a slow way, but I think it's the best way. You get people who actually want it and who are going to care when you do it, that whole slow grassroots effort. And for me, you know, it would get too overwhelming if it got real big real quick. So slow and steady is good for me.
Right. I agree totally.
The race. Isn't that what they say?
That's right. That's right. And you don't, Steve said this years ago, he doesn't get out and he doesn't push the, he doesn't push the location like so many people get out and do and put videos out and do things that he's not sure of. Everything he tells you is what he knows historically to be true. He doesn't push the place. He doesn't have to. The place speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does.
And you don't find too many of those.
No, I think some people have turned theirs. It's an historical home with historical significance, with historical things still happening.
Right.
And I would like to treat this as that, like you would any other museum or important property. And I think there's a lot of other important properties out there that they've turned into, my opinion, more of a sideshow attraction.
You're absolutely right.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just not what I want for my place.
Right. You are a living history book. I mean, you can go there and see it.
Come here and, for all different reasons, and feel like it's, it's not just some kind of, we're getting off the interstate and go to the giant and get a ball of yarn,
Right. Yeah, you're not just a haunted attraction.
Right. I'm a historical, interesting property that happens to be haunted.
Exactly. And it's so interesting that all those people want to let everybody know all these years later about it. It needs to stay that way.
Yeah.
And I can say this, that I don't usually list places as some of my favorites. Out of Indiana, I would say Thornhaven is one of my favorites. I've been to several places in the state, and I don't say that about just any place.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're right up there. Like I said earlier, the old jail over here in Warsaw, the old one, not the new one.
Not the new one you're always at.
Not the new one. The old one. I've always said it's one of my favorite places to investigate. And now I can say that I've been to Thornhaven, that it's one of my favorites, and I look forward to coming back.
And I love saying,
welcome back anytime.
I love saying, I told you so.
Whatever. And I still want to know the name of the person that was following me that night. So since you're there, can you please whisper it in Steve's ear who you are and what you're
I'm not listening.
Okay.
He's not listening.
Maybe not whisper it in his ear. Okay. Just put it in Barb's voice recorder the next time she sees you.
Just go to her house at night, and when she's sleeping, lay next to her in her bed and whisper it in her ear.
Oh, I'll be up there the 27th. I will find out for you, Jen, if at all possible.
I would love that, because we have an idea who it is, but I know you have an idea who it is.
Yeah, I'll check with him the 27th.
But I know it was a male and he kind of had a deep voice. And he was like,
Uh-huh.
yes. If you listen to Mike's recorder, you'll hear it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know if you've listened to it yet or not, but yeah.
Is he the one that cussed him out?
I think so.
Okay.
Wait, what happened?
Mike always gets cussed. They always cuss him. Bless his heart.
It was plain as day.
And it's very vulgar. They don't just say, you know, hell with you or whatever. It's always the F word.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's my kind of ghost.
Yeah.
Drop the F-bomb too.
Yeah.
Or I found the perfect place to investigate. I see why you like it there, Barb.
You never know what you're going to get, and you always get something, always. And to me, you know, one of the main things that, I mean, I've always been interested in the paranormal and supernatural since I was 4 or 5 years old. But one of my main things is the history. I love the history of these places. And if you do, you know, if you love the history of the places, if you're doing it for the right reasons, if you're not trying to get rich, which you're never going to do in this field,
Yeah.
and you're not trying to get on TV and you're not trying to make a big name of yourself, you're going to have these wonderful experiences that most people don't even have a clue about
And are afraid of.
and are afraid of. And they're afraid because they don't understand it. And they can call us crazy or nuts or whatever they want. They're missing out.
And that's another reason I started that tour company. Because people.
Well, I call you that, Barb, but that has nothing to do with you investigating.
What?
I say I call her crazy and nuts, but that has nothing to do with her being an investigator.
Exactly. That's beside the point.
Exactly.
So was that you or did
was that you?
Huh?
Was that you?
Mean what?
That Big Bang?
I didn't hear anything.
Are you kidding me?
His ears are closed, remember?
You ladies heard that, didn't you?
Yes, that's why I was like, what was that?
Lisa, was that at your house?
Nope, it wasn't my house. I had it on mute.
It wasn't here.
And it wasn't
Steve,
here.
Steve, it was a Big Bang.
Time to go. Bye, Steve.
Oh, gosh. That's why I love the manor.
Well, it just, okay. I'm not sure if this was me or if it was something. When I was asleep, I was on that full-size blow-up mattress, and I had a flannel blanket, like one of those real thick, fuzzy ones that you can curl up at a football stadium with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was laying on my right side, and I had that blanket bunched up around me. Tell me why my ass was cold.
He was touching it.
I was like, is somebody laying here with me?
Well, maybe he was looking at you like he wasn't me in the thermal. It was cold. It was cold.
Hush up. That's what I was thinking. My head was covered up that night sleeping. I can tell you that.
If you remember, before we went to sleep, we heard a big bang and everybody jumped up and we went all checked it out and nothing again. So, but that's what we just heard.
Yeah. Sounds like a door slamming.
Right. I thought a door slammed there at the manor.
Yep. Is Steve still with us or did they get him?
No, I'm still here.
He's like, peace out. Oh, are you going to go investigate?
No. You made me paranoid, so now I'm looking around.
I can't believe you didn't hear that.
I can't either.
Well, I was talking, so.
But it was loud, Steve. It sounded like a door slammed right there by you.
Lisa said that was Steve running out the door.
No, we all three heard it.
And I swear he said, and the door won't hit me on the ass as I go out either.
Yep.
There's that damn chair.
Hey, my poop bucket's not there.
Oh.
You know, I still got.
You didn't leave that, did you?
No.
No, my car with my noodle. Doll. I hate those dolls.
There's a damn doll.
Oh, Steve, I hate your dolls.
I hate dolls too.
No, I don't like him either.
I
There
literally
was
had
only one doll here, and then it's reproduced.
I
Now
literally
got tons of
put
them.
I put one of them in the corner right inside the front door, face down in the corner so she'd shut up, and she still wouldn't quit.
Shut up, though.
And I turned that one you just showed on its face, and it was still going off too. I was like,
Yeah. It went
That
off, and
thing's
the
really
entire
good because it's so sensitive, but it has to be like not in the room that you're in.
And Lisa even commented, "Those damn dolls."
well, she come out of the basement once, and it went off, and then that big, huge, heavy table that it's sitting on in the breakfast room literally shook. She said,
Oh, yeah. Glad it didn't do that when I was there. So I have a few messages. One guy says, "Hey Steve, try to reach a spirit real quick." Steve already said no.
It's not happening.
"No."
And Chad said to tell you, Lisa, I was on the fence about going with you sometime. Yeah, I'm out.
Come on, you guys gonna let an old woman upstage you?
Hey, that's the room where we kept hearing stuff that night, Barb.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that
Yes,
the parlor?
ma'am.
The drawing
Yes.
room.
Yes, or the parlor, the drawing room was where we kept hearing things coming from. The parlor, or the drawing room, and
The drawing room is the
entryway.
one that we're lifting the floor right now.
Can you
The
tell?
parlor is the main room of the house.
The drawing room is where we caught the thermals in the window.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's the staircase that they throw rocks at you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the
You know what's always weird when I film in this house? It always is blurry. I rarely can ever focus on anything.
It was
can't-
blurry
yep.
till right now. Now it's not again. Go
Yeah,
back to
it's this. I get such blurry. Like there, it's not blurry.
Yeah. It was like somebody was sitting in that chair. Right there at the bottom of the staircase is where I kept hearing stuff and where Barb would see somebody standing behind me. Right there. Yep.
There's always activity on that staircase. Lights.
Yes, this is a very active part of the house. The whole stairwell.
And look at me. I chose to stand right there beside of it. I'm brave and didn't know it.
Yes, you are.
I'm a big girl. More ways than one. Oh. I do have a question. Do you think the slave that he brought from the South, Thomas, do you think he's still there?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Now we got Tom on the Ovilus that night, but that's the first time I've ever gotten that name there.
Well, I kept getting a feeling like he was. What was that? Wait.
What was what?
I'm watching you live, and I'm also watching the video of like your live is so many seconds ahead of the actual video. Can I rewind this? Let me see. Sorry, didn't mean to freak you out. Play. I hope it goes where I need it to go. I didn't want Dog Man. Go back. It looked like something flashed across the stairs when you were in that. When you looked up the. Excuse me. When you flashed up the stairs. Oh, Lisa just said a shadow.
You get a lot of things on that staircase.
It looked like a white streak to me.
You get a lot of the white streaks, a lot of weird lights, white lights, kind of reddish lights, a lot of orbs, and I'm talking true orbs that, I mean, will move around for 5-10 minutes.
Wow. Oh, we have.
Oh yeah, the stuff you see here, you can see with just your eye. I mean, it's not like, oh, I think I saw that, or oh, we caught it when we went home. No, people have been like sitting here And they're like, what is that dancing light in front of us?
Right.
I'm going to have to watch this video again.
And I will say another thing for anybody that goes there that knows that you've caught things. The manor is very, very notorious about taking things away if she doesn't want you to have them at that particular time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Lisa said there was a white streak in the shadow. Okay, so I'm not blind.
No, that's typical.
We do have Blaze Paranormal joining us.
Hello.
Thanks
Hi, guys.
for joining us.
Have they been here before?
That was my question, too. If not, Steve would like for you to come visit. Steve, we're waiting for you.
You really should go.
That door right there, is that the one that goes out to the side?
Yes, that originally went to the side because there was 2 porches, and that was the side porch.
Oh, look, and it goes to the south side where your friend is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that goes to the south side of the house.
Well, you go out the north side, and you'll be okay. Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah, just
I
don't go
heard
outside.
something.
Now, Blaze Paranormal, if you guys have never been there, you really need to go.
I don't remember. I'm going to ask, where are you from? Oh, Lisa says it's almost midnight, Steve.
Well, it's time to sign off then.
He's like, it's past my bedtime. I'm getting tired. Yawn. Yeah, the house is very interesting.
It's the type of place that the more you go there, the more it opens up to you as well.
Yeah, that sounds like I always say that. I'm like, it sounds like a total sales pitch. I know. But the more you come here, the more active it gets.
Exactly. I'm living proof of that.
Yeah.
I told them they need to come visit the manor.
Have they answered? Have they been here before?
They are from New York.
Wow.
Oh, they're from New York. Okay, so probably not. See, people from New York who probably never heard of Newcastle, Indiana.
Exactly. There you go.
We're from Indiana and didn't hear of it.
I have people from Newcastle. They're like, I never knew that place even existed.
Oh, I've been at the Casey's down the road at 2 or 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they have no idea what we're talking about. It's like, you've got to be kidding me.
You know, I'm watching you, like I said, I'm watching it live on my right screen. And on the left, I have YouTube pulled up where I can answer questions or ask. And I hate when I see it live, I don't catch it. But then on the video, I catch it.
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, oh, go back. Never mind. You're past it.
Everything's so quick.
Yeah. What was that?
That's my question.
It was a dog. It was me, guys.
Okay.
I think I have a friend in here with me. I'm sitting in my kitchen dark.
So here's the basement, which you're not going to see much because I'm not going down there to turn the light on.
Going down there?
No, I'm not going down there. You can kind of see right there. One of the interesting things about this house, if anybody who's listening, is we've never found the original entrance to the basement. You can see these little black marks, like right, you can kind of see them in the middle of the screen. That's old floor joists where they've cut out the floor to put these stairs in. And so we don't know we've never found the original stairs.
Do you remember the guy, Steve, that sent you the pictures of him at the house when you had the big bookshelf still in the front parlor?
Oh, yeah. Robert Von Felt, I think is his name.
Now, he talked about the entrance to the basement being in the kitchen, but there was only like a little hallway towards the back or something. So he had
I
never
think
actually.
he's referring to, because I have those hidden rooms that we found.
Right. That's
Oh,
what
And
he was said.
that's not under the kitchen. It's right under the kitchen and to the right.
Yeah,
But
he
I
said
can
there
see
was.
how he thinks it's under the kitchen.
Right,
Well,
well,
because
he
even
said,
that room, it's under this room.
really?
Yeah.
So
So you see this door? And there's that vent. If you go in the basement, right underneath, basically about right here, is where there's that entrance to what's supposedly my hidden rooms. And
Okay.
so there's supposed to be hidden rooms out into the backyard. And then from the backyard, it turns into a huge cavern system that goes to the north side of the property. Oh, and my guy, Jerry, the one who used to be my groundskeeper, he was here the other day. He talked about how someone else came up to him and says, "Oh, you know, we got tunnels there, don't you?" So there's just so many people that have come up and told me that I've got tunnels.
I think you're right where they're at though, because you can see the brick and the difference.
mhm.
Oh yeah. It's an entrance, a definite entrance.
Yes, it definitely is. I agree.
Yeah. And so I think the original entrance to the basement was probably somewhere further out there, like some sort of kind of root cellar kind of entrance that probably was hidden. So it wouldn't have been easy for people to find it. Because, like I said, I think this place was really built to be part of the Underground Railroad. And so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Well, when I was younger in 4th grade, the house that we lived in, the owner had turned it into apartments. It was an old Jewish mansion. The first floor, him and his wife lived on, and they had the basement. The second floor had 3 apartments. The third floor had one small apartment, and it was part of the Underground Railroad. It was that basement was something else.
Well, I think I need to head out.
Well, let us know you got safely in your car.
But like I said before, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Steve.
Yes, thanks.
See, this is what I have to do when everybody leaves. I have to walk to this house by myself and turn lights off.
Steve, but we're with you.
We'll stay with you.
You're not with me.
Well, no, take me in.
Well, we kind of are. We're in spirit and on the phone.
Oh, that stupid doll. She just sneezed.
You need a main breaker at that front door. Watch. He will take us on camera out to his car with him.
No, I won't, because I got to turn my flashlight on. Oh, Chris made this for me. I should show this off. See, got nice people who make things for me.
Yeah, he asked me if I'd seen that, and I said, yes, sir. It's displayed very nicely.
Yeah, that was very nice of him. I think his whole family worked on it.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
Lisa said to hurry and run.
Oh, I know. Yeah, here's.
And Chad says, after all that, the worst waits outside.
Oh, yeah, they're right.
Uh-oh.
Here's my porch.
Why is the light flashing?
Oh, because it's technically a Halloween light.
Oh. By the way,
So
I absolutely love the colors on the house, the purples and the blues and the pinks.
Oh yeah, that's part of the whole fun house. It's gonna be like a rainbow constantly going back and forth.
That was pretty spiffy.
Yeah.
It's going to be
All
so
right.
cool.
Well, I'm gonna sign off.
All righty. Well, thanks for coming on.
Steve.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for having me. And keep following along, okay?
Let us know when you get home.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Good night,
Good night.
Steve.
Bye. See you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
right, gals, it's just us. So, for those of you listening, I'm going to put a big old promo out there.
We could talk forever with that man, or I could.
Right?
Barb, you and I could talk forever. What are you talking
Oh
about?
yes, and now we've drug Lisa into this mess, so she's stuck with us now too.
We're so sorry. Wait, which Lisa? Both of them.
Both of them, right? But yeah, the one that I had on her knees, bless her heart.
Hey, it was all good.
It was worth every drop of stomach bile.
It was.
No, it was Coke through the nose, so you know how
Yeah, bless her heart. She had been drinking Coke before we went out, so it came right out her nose.
Oh, it was awful.
Lovely. So throw this promo out there. Keeps doing weird things. I keep looking at the video again. Stop doing that. So next June, we are having the first annual Women's Paranormal Retreat in Mansfield, Ohio. I am hosting it through my team, BSR Paranormal, and through the tour company, Cryptid Tours and Investigations. Barb and Debbie will be team leads during that event. We are going to take most women is 50 because at Malabar Farms, we have the Sealy Rose House, we have the cemetery and the grounds to investigate. So we can split up into nice sized teams. During the day, we will take a private tour. And then at night, we will investigate the place. On Sunday, we will be investigating Ohio State Reformatory Prison. And plenty of room there for 50 women plus team leads. So,
More than enough. Yeah.
You haven't been there, have you?
No, I have not. So I'm looking very forward to doing the Paracon with you and checking the place out for the first time. Debbie and I had actually had it booked at one time, and she blew her knee out, so we didn't make it.
Well, I love that place. This will be my 4th investigation there. It's my number 1 place to investigate out of anywhere.
Wow, awesome.
So I get to show you my favorite. You've shown me yours.
I'm ready.
If you show me mine, I'll show you yours.
There you go. That's what friends are for. Lisa, are you gonna be able to make it?
Yes, I'm going.
Great. I don't
Yeah.
blame you if you don't hook up with me, but I fully understand.
Yeah, we're kind of like, what is it? You're stuck with me like glue. So
Yeah, through puke.
yeah.
Oh, people are never going to believe us.
I know. I mean, it's way too bizarre but I can't make that shit up.
I can't either. Everything I've ever witnessed there at the thing with Catherine, Frank Thurman coming through, everything there it's not like it is anywhere else. I mean, it comes through, and then you find out later, you find out all these historical facts about it. You know, it confirms everything. It's just crazy.
I mean, the minute that I told Jen what we've seen, she pulled up, and it's like, oh shit, yep, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
Don't you hate that I know this stuff?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't see it, but you heard it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you actually what I seen because it was so hard to see to start with, and then it changed shapes.
Yeah.
More than once.
Yeah. It's a shapeshifter is basically what it is.
Mm-hmm.
People like to say that dogmen are shapeshifters. They're not shapeshifters. That's Rougarous. That is these things. That is your so-called werewolves. Dogmen are not that. They're flesh and blood.
What about a puckwudgie, Jen? Do you know anything about those?
Yep. Those are nasty little suckers.
They are. They can change forms as well, can't they?
And they also like to they have little spears they'll throw at you. They light fire. If they feel you're intruding, they actually will do stuff to make you have an accident that will kill you.
That's what I was thinking. And they have been supposedly, they are quite well known at the mounds in Anderson.
Yep, that's exactly. Yep, that's one of the reasons I haven't been there. I don't want to encounter them. They're nasty little things.
No, I don't think I do either.
Um, but I do hear the mounds are very active. You can hear cannon fire and stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like a place we should check out.
So this guy just says, I want to try, and he needs to quit saying the word.
Oh, no.
He's going to keep taunting it and calling it to himself. And he doesn't want that. He says he wants to try to get it on video, or at least an EVP.
Trust me, you don't.
They're not going to let you.
No. They're.
I mean,
is there any way that we could hide a camera far enough away that we could try to get him?
That's why I said trail cams. You might be able to.
Or I can go out there and open my big mouth again.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It shut down everything. It shut down everything that had batteries.
Right, everything.
Yeah.
Even when we came back to the house and told people what we'd seen, I grabbed the thermal and I got out on the front porch and I turned it on, and I have 3 or 4 witnesses. Everybody's seen this. I turned it on, it shut itself right back off.
Yep.
I did this 5 or 6 times on the porch, 5 or 6 times in the yard in front of the house, and even along the side.
Yep.
Now, I can't think of her name. The other girl, another girl there that had the thermal.
Megan.
No, it wasn't Megan.
No.
The dark-headed girl that had the long braid that had the guy with her. Amanda.
Yeah.
She had hers. Hers worked, but she wasn't out there the first time.
You know why?
Mine never worked the whole time we were out there until I got back in the house, and then it was fine.
Because they don't want you recording them.
Absolutely.
Shit down.
They knew we'd done seen it.
Now, my phone completely off.
Yeah.
It will. Here's a good example. Sasquatch. Trail cams, videos, got it all set up. They can hear those running, so they will avoid them. Or if you got a camera, they avoid it. They don't want you to film them.
No, they don't want to be found.
And people who try to take pictures of dogmen, they can't take pictures of them. It's very rare. There are photos, but it's very rare.
I mean, I would love to get a photo of him, but I know it's probably impossible
And I think it would blend into the surrounding. Oh shoot! I forgot to ask Steve about that beeping noise too.
Somebody asked him, and he has no idea from what they said.
Asked him, and I didn't know if he'd heard it between the time I asked him and tonight. But I mean, and people who have pictures of the dogmen, of the Sasquatch, they don't release them.
No.
Most of them do not release them for reasons. I mean, I've heard stories, and I've seen stuff myself, and I share it. Hell yeah, I'll share it. I investigate this stuff. You can call me crazy if you want. But.
Right.
Okay. I don't know who this Newcastle skate park person is, but he says, I wonder what would happen if you went to the Mounds Park and was taunting the SWs.
Okay, go right ahead and try it.
Well, that would be the last time we heard from you.
More than likely, yeah. And even if it wasn't, you wouldn't appreciate what life brought to you from then on in.
And I'm curious if he's ever seen a cryptid.
Probably not.
Because most of these people, a lot of people are like, oh, I want to see it. I want to see it. Well, when their wish comes true, they're like, I wish I would have never seen that.
Right, because you can't get rid of it. You can't take it. You can't get it out of your head.
No. I mean, when you close your eyes, you see it.
Even though you can't explain to somebody else what it looks like, you still see it in your head?
I actually saw a Sasquatch last October.
Ooh.
No, I tell you, it was like one of the coolest things I'd ever seen.
See, you are crazy like the rest of us.
So, yeah, my mom's birthday is October 13th. So this year, the 13th is on what? Sunday or Saturday? Today's the 10th. Saturday. So last year it was on Friday. So 2 days before her birthday. So it was the 11th. I was driving down the county road out here on my way into town, taking Xander to daycare. And mind you, this is a well-traveled road. And you go by this church and this cemetery and you go down a hill. And then you have to go up some railroad tracks. And it was last year they had corn planted there. This year they have soybeans or wheat. And across from that field is a house in the woods. So I come down that hill and something walked out in front of me. I thought, why in the hell does that guy have a rust-colored suit on with a hat and he's as tall as that damn sign? I was like kind of trying to ask myself this and process it all at the same time. And it hit me. Oh shit, I just saw a Sasquatch.
Wow.
So me being me, I'm at the bottom of this hill. I stop and look. And then after I get going, I realize maybe I shouldn't have done that. I could have got rear-ended.
Priorities, Jen. We got to have our priorities straight, you know.
Yes. But I was just like, really? I just saw a Sasquatch. I'm so excited.
Exactly.
Then when I lived in Fort Wayne, Ariana I was trying to get her in my car and I happened to look over and I saw something on all fours that was sticking up. It was black walking beside my neighbor's car. And it wasn't a dog. And right a couple weeks before that, we had heard howls. And not far from where I lived, there was an actual sighting. And they had torn the house down within 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there's some pretty interesting stuff out there. And, you know, we don't have a lot of dogman sightings I can't say there's not sightings. I don't have a lot of reports coming in from Indiana. There's a lot in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. But I can tell you, if there was one, I would love to hear it.
There's got to be something out there.
There is. There's lots of stuff, and I tell you. But who knows? Maybe we'll get to see a Sasquatch when we're in Ohio.
Yeah, there you go. And with things going crazy at Thornhaven, like I said, none of this has happened until he started really working out back and really tearing things up. So
I think
who knows?
But did you know the weird thing though? He didn't. The minute that we got literally out of the woods is whenever he done all the stuff to affect us. He didn't do it in the woods.
No, we were fine in the woods. I mean, we heard, I think that's when we heard the growl.
Right, yes.
And you just got the feeling, get the hell out.
Yeah.
Which we did. And we apologized over and over. And I explained, I'm just coming in to make sure there was nothing else here that we seen we thought was you.
Right. And we told him we didn't mean any disrespect. I said, we don't mean any disrespect and we're very sorry. We won't come in your woods again. But it's like he couldn't come out of the woods.
Right.
Well, he can now, thanks to Barb.
Oh, well, Barb. Yeah. But
way to go, Barb.
Leave it to me. Yeah, there you go. Well, we we may not never figure it out unless I had done that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Maybe it wasn't come out of the woods. You ever think of that?
I'm there to figure it out. I'm going to call it out.
Obviously.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's my demon bird.
So she said there's okay. So she She said there was a black hole back there on the property.
Yeah, we need to check into that and figure out what she's talking about.
Portal.
I hate to say that because, like I said, Steve said it, I think, at best when he said it's a beacon. I don't want to say it's a portal or a door because, one thing, it's not really been negative up to this point. Most people don't feel anything negative or dark. And there's so many things there that shouldn't be there, like Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unless she was taken there, and in all the research I've done for the last 5 years, there's no reason for her to have been there unless he took her there for some reason in between taking her and leaving her wherever he left her. And I've spoke with several mediums, one in particular who has been to the house. We have actually spent the entire day up in Newcastle. She took me to the place where she feels like she is buried. And she also said that there's more people there than just her from this one particular person. It just goes on and on. So to me, I don't want to say that it's a portal or a door because that makes it seem very demonic or negative or dark. And I don't think that it's that way there. But that's just my personal opinion. I think, like Steve said, it's more of a beacon. It's got all the running water under it.
That's right.
It's got all the running water. It's got like three springs under it. It's got all the limestone.
Right.
It's got the history. It's got the Native American background. It's got everything.
Yeah, it does. Oh, that could be why Sasquatch are out there, because it's got the Native American background. It's got woods. I can tell you what you need for a dog man. I'm not as well versed in Sasquatch, but I don't think you got dogmen out there. I think what I heard, that thumping, was a Sasquatch out there. I really do.
And what looked, the figure that looked to be behind you was very, very tall. And
was it really wide?
Yeah, I mean, it was very big.
Like width-wise, like chest-wise?
Yeah.
They can tell. This is what I think. They can tell when people can sense them or aren't afraid. And and I've called it before. My son can cryptids are around, and I've been like, hey, they're here. And he's like, yeah, they are. Just like tonight. I'm sure I'll have a good story tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. It was just like spirits. If you're in it very long, you don't have to be a sensitive person, although I think we all are to a certain extent. Most of us block it out. If you're in this field, the more you do, I think the more sensitive you get to it. You know when something's around you.
And to me, you can turn it on and off. That's what I do. It's like a switch. Like when I'm busy at work, and mind you, I work in a psych hospital.
I'm sorry.
I always tell them, one day you're going to just have to roll me down the hall and admit me.
Yep.
I can work from there.
Yep. We can come back and say, I told you so.
Yeah. I turn it off at work. Like sitting in here, the kids are asleep on this blow up mattress, and I'm sitting here at the table, and I keep hearing stuff, and I saw something in here earlier a couple times, and it sounds like something's in the living room. Like when it's quiet and I'm here by myself, I hear stuff. But when there's noise, it's like I don't pay attention.
Right.
And to me, that's just kind of like turning it on and off.
Right.
So.
And if you do it, you have to learn how to turn it off.
Or they'll drive you crazy.
Exactly.
So. Well, yeah. We have been talking for 3 hours.
Like I said, we could talk forever.
We were talking, and Steve was at Thornhaven, and time flew by. See, we didn't lie to you.
No, it's that way all the time. A day seems like a couple hours up there. It's crazy.
Oh, Chad says, you're all creepy, crazy, cool. Good night.
I am going to text Steve and make sure he got out okay.
Did they eat stuff?
I'm sure he did, but
Oh. All righty. Well, thanks for coming on, gals.
thank you so much. I'm sorry it took me so long to get on.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm slow.
This happened the last time, I think. You kept trying to get on and couldn't.
No, the last time, what happened? Oh, last time we were supposed to do it on Wednesday night and it went to Thursday night, and that was when all the family stuff was going down and I couldn't get on.
Well, and then
And the first time I was stuck in a snowstorm.
That's right.
Third time's a charm.
Absolutely right.
Oh, I'm getting a message back from Steve here. We'll see what he has to say.
I ate night.
I just asked if he got out okay. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for checking.
Well, good.
So, all right, ladies, if you want to hang out a second, I'm going to sign off. So, hang on just a second, okay?
Okay. Good night. Good night, guys.
Night.
All right, thanks everybody for watching tonight. I know it was a long episode, but hey, when we get together and start talking, you never know how long it'll be.
Exactly.
Imagine if we were actually all together.
Oh my.
Yep, we'd still be going.
We'd have to make a day of it.
We'd have to take a vacation day tomorrow.
Right.
But please check out my Facebook page. It's Paranormal Road Trip with Jen. Go ahead and like it. I'm 2 weeks from now, I will be having Al Santariga again, along with his co-founder of the Bronxville Paranormal Society, Brian Bowden. I'm pretty sure they have some awesome stories for us. I always like to listen to Al's stories. He has some good ones. Not stories, but he likes to share his encounters. We don't call them stories because stories are made up. But he always has some good encounters for us. They'll be talking about dogmen. You know, it's getting closer to Halloween, so scarier the better. Go ahead and like Paracryptid Tours and Investigations. Feel free to like our first annual Women's Para Retreat Weekend in Mansfield, Ohio. Like SIGH's Facebook page. It's SIGH, Southern Indiana Ghost Hunters. Feel free to like BSR Paranormals as well. I do have some tickets left for the Warsaw investigation coming up the weekend of Halloween. Go to my Facebook page and it'll give you a link to purchase tickets. So you guys have a good night. And I'm going to tell these ladies good night when we get done. And I will see y'all next week on Wednesday at 9 o'clock.